welcomes you to sunny Southern California, Irwindale, just outside Los Angeles, for NASCAR's Toyota All-Star Showdown. This is the second of 2 consecutive nights. Last night, 4 50-lap qualifying races to set the field, and tonight is the big dance for the AutoZone Elite Series. They run a 125-lap feature, and the Grand National Division, the Busch North and the NASCAR West Series combined in a 150-lap tilt. Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Joy, along with the editor of Speedway Illustrated, Dick Berggren, at one of our absolute favorite events for the year, because these are the great NASCAR touring races from all across the country. Many of these fellows who aspire to careers in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, the Busch Series, or Nextel Cup, and some who may get that phone call if they do well tonight.
Mike, I love this place. I love this race. They have come from all over the United States and even Canada, from as far east, as far north, as far south, and as far west. And they've all got one thing in mind: to win this event. Sure, there's a lot of money up here tonight, $500,000, but most of them would be just delighted to go home with that trophy and be able to say that they won the Toyota All-Star Showdown. This is the last race of the year. Time to let it all hang out and try to win this big race.
Winning is big, but running well can be just as important. Ask Bernie Lamar. He led most of the first half of his race here last year, and the phone rang. Kevin Harvick calling, and next year Lamar, who is competing here tonight, has a full-time Busch Series ride for Kevin Harvick Racing.
And that could happen to somebody else tonight as well. But even if not, for all these guys, this is such a big race that to win it, that's enough. That's enough. Or even just to run well, put on a good show, bring the car home up in the front of the field.
Last night, great racing action, a lot of it 3 wide and 4 wide on this very unique compound banked racetrack.
Spoiler at the bottom, more steep up top, so there are lots of places to race, and this is what you'll see tonight. Easy passing, high, low, and in the middle.
We found easy getting alongside someone, not so easy completing the pass, like that finish right there. How close was it? How about 4 1/1000ths of a second at the checkered flag? Nick Lynch beating Greg Pursley. Pre-race ceremony is just about complete. We're ready to race here in Irwindale. Let's go trackside. Ralph Shaheen.
Mike, Nick Lynch won that race. He only led for about 6 or 5 feet or so. That's what got him to this #1 starting spot. He just wrapped up only his 2nd season in the Southwest Series. Nick Lynch looking to make a big name for himself here tonight. The best in the business are here. He's no slouch. Neither is a guy starting alongside of him who's with my colleague, Jim Trada.
And Ralph, in 2003, the inaugural All-Star Showdown, Rip Michaels was the defending late model series champion, and guess what? He was in the grandstands. Tonight, he may be in the driver's seat. Winning the 2nd Elite Division race put him on the outside of row #1. This racetrack is tricky, but the outside line has been the preferred line here the last couple of days. So keep your eyes on Rip Michaels, track champion, trying to become Showdown champion.
And that's a good point, Jim, that Michaels was in the grandstand, because this is an invitation-only race. You have to finish in the top 10 in your Elite Series to get an invitation, and top 15 in points in NASCAR West or Busch North to be invited. So it's the best of the best here for NASCAR Short Track Racing's Big Dance. Glad to have you with us tonight, live on Speed. Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Toyota All-Star Showdown is brought to you by Toyota. Choose any direction as long as it's forward. Toyota, moving forward. Ready to race on a nice night in Irwindale. Hollywood film and television comedy stars, the Wayans brothers, have been invited to be the Grand Marshals for our Elite Series 125-lap race. So here to give the command is Marlon Wayans.
Ready?
Gentlemen, start your engine!
I think he overrevved.
Certainly was wound up, wasn't he?
Boy needs a new chip. Well done.
Well, everybody's excited tonight. Why not? Let him rip.
That'll get that party started.
You bet.
10 drivers from each of the Northwest, Southwest, Midwest, and Southeast Autos in the Elite Series are set to go 125 laps here at Irwindale Speedway. Nick Lynch, winner of the first qualifying race, on the pole, and Rip Michaels, the local track hot shoe, won the second qualifying race, so he has the outside pole.
And Greg Persley driving car number 70, starting in the 3rd position. His father is his crew chief, and Thomas Martin will start in the 4th position. He's from Auburn, California.
Row 3, M.K. Kanky, another local, and we've told you about Bernie Lamar, who's off to drive for Kevin Harvick next year.
Row 4, car number 5 is J.R. Norris. He's in Alabama, changed engines yesterday. Big thrash, made it into the field. And Augie Vinovich, a local hero, driving car number 11. He starts 8th.
Nick Janitis, number 45, and Eddie Hoffman in the 0. Janitis ran up front early, ended up 5th in his race. Hoffman, a very steady 5th in the 2nd qualifier.
Starting in 11th position from the state of Washington, it's John Bender. 4 wins and 52 starts in this division. He's a good one. Outside him, it's Chris Davidson from Pearland, Texas.
Kevin Prince, Wilmington, North Carolina. Jeff Jefferson from the Pacific Northwest. Wilbur Bruce, Justin Dirks, who had a lot of success here last year, starting 16th.
And Steve Carlson driving car number 66. He's a real good one, always up front.
And we have a look back through the rest of the field. 40 cars strong. One of those, Jeff Barkshire, you see, will go to the back. He will start 39th in this one. He is in a backup car. His car was a Dodge. It was heavily damaged yesterday, so he's driving a Chevrolet.
And car 03, Jim Pettit, involved in a crash last night. Talked to him this afternoon, and he has promised us, he will pass more cars than anybody else, and he will finish up front.
Robert Richardson will be carrying one of our onboard cameras tonight, the Benchmark Mortgage North Texas Pipe Chevrolet. And Brandon Reel out of Boring, Oregon, the Aero Turbine Chevrolet. We'll have our second onboard camera. He races in the AutoZone Northwest Series. A half-mile racetrack, 125 laps. They'll race 75 laps, and the caution flags will count. At lap 75, a competition caution. Everyone may pit, the line back up, and run 50 green flag laps to the finish.
And during that pit stop, they can do anything they want to do to the car except change the engine. So there's going to be a lot of frantic pit work with 50 to go.
And you see the pits here at Irwindale Raceway. They are located on the inner oval of the racetrack. So you come into the pits at turn 3, make your stop, and rejoin the racetrack at turn 2.
Rip Michaels, very, very strong. Talked to him earlier.
And let's give you a look at the team designations. NASCAR designating each series representatives as a team, and there is a cash team prize based on the running positions of each series, 10 drivers at the 75 lap mark. So as you look at the little chiclets with the car numbers at the top of your screen, the background of the number denotes what series they represent.
Can feel the tension. It's there.
Let's check with Jim.
Guys, when I checked in with Rick Michaels, he was very nervous before the race, but he said the most worry I have of competitors is J.R. Norris. His number 5 car won in the Southeast Series this year. He traveled to Milwaukee. He won there. He's been extremely fast. Rick Michaels is most worried about his Southeast competitor out of Alabama, J.R. Norris. Let's check in with Ralph.
Jim, I spoke to Rip Michaels just before he strapped into the car. I said, Rip, how hard do you have to run this race? He said, look, if you normally run at 100% or awful close to it, when you get to the last 50 laps of this event, you better find another 20 to 30% to elevate your game. He said the last 20 or so laps, you won't even blink.
Everyone with their eye on the prize, and one of those prizes is right at the front of the field. The Toyota Tundra that paces the field. Each of the winning drivers tonight receives a free 1-year lease of a Toyota Tundra from Toyota, the title sponsor of this event.
And Michaels wants that truck really badly for his son. Apparently not enough vehicles in the family. Drivers have been told, one more to go, don't weave the car. Now they've just got to get nice and straight in the line, get ready for the green.
3 Fords and 37 Chevrolets in this event. And on the flag stand, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series ace David Rudiman, who drives the NT and Bearings Toyota for Darrell Waltrip. Trouble for the pole sitter. Nick Lynch does not get going, and Michaels outdistances him handily into turn 1. Lynch recovers in 5th place.
Big traffic jam behind them. Bernie Lamar, car number 1. On the inside.
How did Lamar come from 6th to 2nd?
That's why Harvick hired him, because he can do stuff like that.
Now the outside lane moved, and that was a benefit definitely to Bernie Lamar.
Augie Vidovich right behind him. Martin in the 28 car, right in that mix as well.
Seems wherever you look this season, Lamar and Vidovich have been very close, and I don't mean as friends. Spinner, turn 2. One car goes around, and that's the 39 of Pete Harding. He brings out the first caution of this race.
Harding, one of the several Canadian drivers in the event. He also had a spin last night.
Pete Harding spins as a result of contact, and we're under the first yellow flag in this 125 lap test for NASCAR's AutoZone Elite Division. You're watching the Toyota All-Star Showdown live from Irwindale. 4 laps complete at Irwindale Speedway in the NASCAR Toyota All-Star Showdown. 4 laps of 125. Outside pole sitter Rick Michaels took the lead at turn 1 of lap 1, and he has led all of the 5 laps scored so far. Bernie Lamar from 6th up to 2nd. Thomas Martin 3rd. Augie Vidovich 4th. And pole sitter Nick Lynch recovered for 5th. Said nothing on the team radio about having a problem on the start. Just didn't get going as quickly as Michaels. One car of note making a pit stop under this caution, and that's perennial Midwest champ Steve Carlson, who will restart 39th. Jim?
And Steve Carlson came down pit road with a flat left rear tire. He actually got gouged here. You can see along the rim, it kind of peeled back like a tin can. Keep in mind, these teams are limited to just 1 set of tires on the car, another set to change. So what they've done is they've gone to the emergency set. We have 4 fresh Hoosiers in his pit area for the break. What he ended up having to do is put on the tires he ran in the qualifier last night to make it last to lap 75 in the break.
Yeah, NASCAR will allow teams to also change a damaged wheel or tire without penalty, but the tire that comes off the car has to be held for a NASCAR official to approve that change. Let's have a look at what happened to Pete Harding, Surrey, British Columbia, in the Yale Chase Yale lift truck Chevrolet, the yellow car. There's Harding.
Oh boy, right in the middle of a lot of stuff. And Steve Carlson right there too. No doubt that's how he spun that wheel, Mike. So Harding and Carlson get into it early on here. We saw a lot of yellow flags last night. The folks who were starting up front said earlier in the day they were glad to be there because they are expecting trouble mid-pack and further back.
They'll complete 8 laps as they come to the green. Vidovich and Persley go to the bottom right away. Vidovich alongside Martin for 3rd. Vidovich in the number 11.
Vidovich from Lakeside, California, perennial winner 4 times this year. He has won. Never won here, though. Never won at Irwindale. Up close. Led a lot of laps here. Never took home the checker. Ralph?
Dick, he's one of those drivers, is Augie Vidovich, that really needs a good showing here tonight. He has nothing confirmed for next season. He was talking to me about it yesterday. This team that he's currently with, he's been sharing the expenses. He has been handling the car and the transporter and that sort of thing. The team owner has also been helping with the bills. It's kind of a 50-50 deal. And the gentleman he's in a partnership with is not necessarily planning on coming back next year. So Augie Vidovich desperately needing a good run, hoping to impress some of those big-name car owners, just like Bernie Lamar did.
He's got company now. Nick Lynch in the 2, the pole sitter. Up and under Vinovich coming out of turn 2. Nothing there. Battle for 20th place, number 9, Greg Vogt. Trying to hold off a pack of cars. And the 69 gets by on the inside, Brandon Reel. And now you have a look at Vogt's blue car. And the black one slipping up between them. That is car 54. That's Jeff Fultz, the Southeast champion.
Fultz changed just about everything in that race car. Didn't like the way it handled last night, so he is feeling the car for the very first time now.
Let's look back around 20th place. Let's move you back up to 3rd place where Thomas Martin continues to hold off Vinovich. Now, one important change in the rules for this event from the last 2 years, and that is when we take the competition caution at lap 75, we had been drawing a number of cars to invert at the front of the field. That will not happen tonight. The leader at lap 75 will be the leader on the restart. So that makes this first segment all that much more important.
Watching Thomas at car number 28, he told me earlier today that his strategy was to simply get behind Rip Michaels and follow him all the way through. He had not counted on Augie Vinovich being as tough a customer as Vinovich is being right now. And Martin really has his hands full just trying to hang on to that spot.
But he's got the groove. He's got the preferred line up top.
Yeah.
Vinovich is going to have to work hard to get by him. And Augie's going to have to drive both the front of his car and the mirror because Lynch is right there. So it makes passing here so difficult because there are cars everywhere. You rarely have a one-on-one matchup.
Yeah, you got to watch out the windshield. You got to watch out both sides of the car and keep an eye on who's behind you as well. They do have spotters high up on top of the grandstand here, and that's definitely a help. But right now, Thomas is one very busy guy, Thomas Martin. Looks like he's about to get past Mike.
Vinovich working on the bottom, but can't gain advantage, much less have a hope of clearing Martin at this stage. Now right behind this pack, moving up is one of the fellows Rip Michaels was worried about. There is the 5 of J.R. Norris.
Yeah, and Greg Persley as well.
Persley, yep.
I think they were worried about both of them, frankly.
Persley in the 70, Star Nursery entry, last year's NASCAR Dodge short track champion. Was not eligible for this event, but he was here having a good look at it and learned well. He is definitely a contender. And Ralph, how about the 5 and J.R. Norris?
Mike, I talked to him. As you notice, you can see he's got those black circles right where the fake headlights usually go on the cars. I asked him, I said, why would you not just have the fake headlights there? He goes, looks too much like a race car when you do that. I said, well, what do you want it to look like? He said, I want him to know I'm the baddest dude on the racetrack, and I'm not like the rest of you.
Looks mean. He's also not like the rest of them because he's in a Ford. And 37 out of these 40 cars are Chevys.
Persley last night was having some problems hanging onto the back end of the car. He was having to feather the throttle a little bit. They made some adjustments in that automobile to try to make it better tonight. Persley set up for the long run.
Rick Michaels, not a runaway leader. He's got himself a little bit of a cushion over Bernie Lamar as they lap past the 06 Eddie Stivers out of Columbia, South Carolina. Pretty good margin on 3rd place, though.
Yeah, and he's got so much experience here. It's no surprise to see Rip Michaels running as well as he is. 42 wins here at Irwindale. Just an incredibly successful driver. 3 championships here. And last year in the Toyota race, he started second, finished second. Almost good enough. Not quite.
All the way through this field. Here is Garrett Evans out of the Pacific Northwest. What a wonderful and long career in short track racing he's had. He's in the 64 battling John Dillon from Boise, Idaho. A big crunch and bunch just ahead of them, and this whole group was 3 wide for the last 3 laps.
Yeah. Headed on the outside, car 03.
He's coming.
Yep, sure is. That's what he promised us.
Jim Pettit had trouble last night in the qualifier early, but look, there is traffic everywhere as you look out the roof cam of Robert Richardson. 27 complete. Up 125.
Caution. Car 23 in the wall.
Tough break for Terry McMahon out of Asheville, North Carolina, the Pure Lip Chevrolet. As he gets righted at turn 4.
He's an interesting guy. He's a Sunday school teacher and a used car dealer. I wonder how that works.
That's it. I'm just going to stand here and laugh because that's just too darn funny. We'll be right back to Irwindale, California. You're live on Speed. Speed Fantasy Cup Auto Racing 2005 is the official fantasy game of Speed Channel. Just go to speedtv.com and register for the Homestead One Race Challenge. Select 8 drivers for a chance to win $10,000 and your share of over $25,000 in cash and prizes for the top 300 winners. Log on to speedtv.com now. Second caution of the night here in Irwindale. 32 laps complete. Caution laps do count up until the so-called halftime break at lap 75, and after that it's green flag laps only. Ralph?
There's a reason why Rip Michaels' crew has this box of animal crackers hanging on the spark plug in their war wagon. They think racing's like the circus. Build, grind, prep, and clean for months. Load, travel, unload, and set up. Put on a show with clowns, freaks, and animals. Tear down and reload. Leave town, start vicious cycle all over again. Everybody loves a circus. Sounds a lot like TV to me, Mike.
You're killing me. I love it. That's a great attitude. And Rip Michaels leads this race from Bernie Lamar. Lamar goes after him in turn 1. Michaels comes right downstairs to cover the spot, and they leave the rest of the field in their wake.
One of the favorites, Jeff Fultz, pitted on that caution flag, so he is deep in the field.
Thomas Martin in the 28, still third. The 11, Augie Vidovich, the number 2 of Nick Lynch, and the 5 of J.R. Norris. Then Greg Pursley in the 70, the 0, Eddie Hoffman.
Vidovich in that 11 car has a deserved reputation as one of the most aggressive drivers in this league. He just doesn't give up. He just keeps on trying, and if he's got to push a little bit to get his way, he's going to do that too. Got 3 different lines there. Martin upstairs, Vidovich more in the middle, Lynch more on the bottom.
And that's the beauty of this racetrack, is that there are 3 different lines, and each one is just about as fast as the other, because the bottom has less banking than the middle, which has less banking than the top.
Wow. What a mess.
Log.
There, here we go. Here we go. Trouble on the front stretch.
Oh, Pursley with a hard hit into the inside front stretch wall. Crawling along the racetrack was Eddie Stivers, and Pursley had to lock it down, crank it left to miss him, and it may have killed Pursley's car.
And Thomas Martin was in it too. So trouble up front.
What a shame for Greg Pursley, who ran well here last night, and there's the car that was just limping along that Pursley had to spin to miss. Third caution flag at lap 37. And there's where it started, was with the 23 of Terry McMahon once again. Now here's the battle up front among the front 4, and the first contact is Thomas Martin and Nick Lynch.
But you can see why, Mike. Right up in front of him is that car stalled on the racetrack.
Lamar checks up, but that's right, Lynch is already sliding up and into Martin.
Yeah, and he checked up because there was a car going so slowly on the front stretch, the 06, barely running up there.
Now the exit to the back pits is along the front stretch, but the drivers were warned in both drivers' meetings, do not leave the track by the exit under green. Oh, look where that right front is. It's almost back into the door, and there is the stalled car still of Eddie Stivers from South Carolina. Greg Pursley has climbed out of his car. He is okay, but I'm afraid his night may be done here in Irwindale. Greg Pursley walked away, but his night is done, and apparently Terry McMahon's is as well.
And what a weekend Pursley has had. His weekend started on Thursday at the Phoenix International Raceway. He was running in second position, just sort of riding, watching Ken Schrader get ready to win the race when a brand new engine, first time ever in the car, blew up. And now this, he's demolished a car. So in 2 races, he's lost a motor and he's lost a car. Tough weekend for Pursley, one of the local favorites.
Terry McMahon also out of this race. He's with Ralph.
Terry McMahon is here with us. Terry, how you feeling? What happened out there?
Well, I don't really know right offhand. I was just trying to stay out of everybody's way since we got spun out earlier and got a lap down. But we were running pretty good with the leaders there, and I don't know, we rolled off in 3, and I just got squeezed up in the fence and kind of got hit in the back, spun around. Really glad, everybody missed me when we come down the speedway, with the driver's door facing traffic. So, just thank the Lord for that. And just thank God we're out here. It's been a tough year. We've kind of raced all year with no sponsor. We got some help from Liberty House Builders to come out here. And we just thank the Lord for coming out.
Just making it this far, Mike, is quite an accomplishment, and that's something Terry McMahon did.
Thanks, Ralph. Stiver's car finally gets a push to the infield. It looks like he may be done for tonight. The car dealer from Columbia, South Carolina. May become the 3rd retiree from this crash.
And the infield junkyard begins to grow. By the time this night is over, there will be a few more cars out there. Everybody runs so hard here, Mike. This is the last race of the year, and you stove one up like this while you got all winter to rebuild the car. So most of these guys have really got their leg in it.
We've got a couple more looks at what happened to bring out this caution at lap 37. Now this is a little further back in the pack. That's where McMahon gets up and into the wall, and the 69 spins. Brandon Reel, he bounces off the wall and keeps going. Actually, the wall kind of straightened Reel out in that red car. And as we said, Pursley had to spin to miss Stivers, who was idling down the front straightaway with mechanical problems. Cleanup continues. We'll be right back to Irwindale, California, live on Speed. Welcome back to Irwindale Speedway, where we're all cleaned up from the 3rd caution of the night that has now brought us to lap 46 and sent 3 cars to the infield out of this race.
Lynch going way slow up there in turn 3 and 4. Yeah, there's oil on the racetrack. I've been listening to NASCAR, and they're getting ready to try to clean this place up, make sure everybody's got plenty of grip before they drop the green again.
A lot of speedy dry going down. The AutoZone Elite Division is made up of 4 racing series that in 2003 developed rules commonality just so that they could compete in this special year-end event on an equal basis. There are some of the all-star alumni from the Elite Division.
There's a lot of benefits to having similar rules as you travel across the nation. It builds a big group of common cars, so used cars can get sold, give folks an opportunity to get into a division like this a little less expensively than they otherwise might be able to do if there were fewer cars in the pool.
Jeff Fultz has made a couple of pit stops. He's the Southeast Division champion once again. Jim?
On the second stop, they actually got the car in twice. They left the hood pins off to adjust the right front shock. They made an adjustment the first time. They came back in, tweaked it 2 more times. Bad loose for Fultz, who's having to turn left then right off of turn 4 on the high side. He doesn't have a lot of room to play. The car is bad loose.
Well, they changed just about everything they could possibly change in that automobile. Springs, spindles, shock absorbers, everything was changed between last night and tonight. But it's a bit of a surprise, even with all those changes, that Fultz is having problems, because he's one of the real veterans and a real champion. 3 times he has been the Southwest champion, second in points on 3 separate occasions. He's even won an ARCA competition. But tonight, Fultz having a real tough time with things. One group looking for a big night here, as they had last night and last year in this event.
Victory Circle race cars, the company founded by Ron Hornaday. Hornaday ran it until he got the call from Dale Earnhardt to go east. Fred Rodman took it over, and Rodman did a great job designing, building those chassis till about 3 years ago when he left racing. Les and Sue Denherger bought the company. Now they own Bernie Lamar's car, and Lamar's crew chief, Mark Lundgren, runs the business right now. But Victory Circle has been the chassis to beat in this division at this racetrack. Jim?
Trouble for the Northwest champion, Jeff Jefferson. They came down pit road, thought the Detroit locker was hanging up. They found the right rear tire for Jeff Jefferson is going down. The three-time champ's going to come back down pit road. Yet this caution, they hope. They're still awaiting to come down pit road to get that right rear change for Jefferson.
Here he comes, Jim, and he better hurry because they've given the field one to go, and they'll go back to green. The LeMay Car Museum, a brand new endeavor there in the Pacific Northwest, sponsoring Jefferson again this year.
Detroit locker is a piece of the center section of the rear end. And, if it fails, if it doesn't work properly, the car simply isn't going to go fast. In fact, if it fails well enough, you may not have any forward motion at all. And they have really got to go because here comes the field for the green.
He's going to lose a lap.
Yep, he is.
Through the speedy dry in turn one, Rip Michaels continues to lead this field. Bernie Lamar in second, Vidovich third, Norris side by side with Vidovich for fourth. Jefferson is back on track, but he's down a lap.
He is. Well, Bernie Lamar on the bottom. He was patient. Ho-ho! Where'd the patience go, Mike?
Well, the first couple laps after the restart, that's your best shot. And here comes Lamar.
Oh,
Michaels wiggled, and Lamar got the lead.
Well, for a while. Here comes Michaels on the bottom now. Vidovich just hanging back there in the 11 car, waiting to see which one's going to get the advantage.
Well, Dick, the top groove had the speedy dry put down, and that may no longer be the fastest place on the racetrack.
At least for a few more laps, it may not be.
Ralph?
Mike, I spoke to the crew chiefs for both the 12 and the 1, and they both said the same thing about their cars. Tight right in the center, which means the car does not want to turn, and then it's loose when they're coming off the corner, which means that rear end wants to step out. Bernie Lamar also told his crew chief, however, that he felt the 12 was better coming off the corner than he was. Oh. So it seems to me that was the difference. As Vidovich gets into the 1, you can see the 12 is able to exit off the corner stronger and pulls away.
Yeah, turn 2, Vidovich got into the left rear quarter panel of Lamar.
And that business of tight in the middle and loose off has been basically the characteristic that almost everybody has fought here all weekend long. The team that figures that one out is probably the team that's going to win the race.
Jim Pettit right in the middle of that, and again, there's so much traffic. There's Pettit 0-3, but he's got a fast car, Dick, but he's got nowhere to go.
Well, he's passed an awful lot of cars, Mike. He started way in the back, Pettit did. He has worked his way all the way up to the 17th position. He's doing just what he promised he was going to do, and that's passed a lot of cars.
How do you pass when there's no lane to pass in?
Make a lane.
Good news on Greg Pursley, treated and released after that hard spin into the inside front wall. A 3-wide log jam in front of Jim Pettit. That 19, Eddie McKeon. On the outside, 88, Brent Kirchner from Wisconsin. And on the inside, the number 9, Greg Vogt from Santa Barbara.
You're talking about Fords, Pettit in that 03. That's another one of the Fords, Mike. He owns that car himself. Has no big sponsors, so his hood every week has a different picture of a missing child or a missing adult. His goal, try to find some of these folks, reunite them with their families.
Nice gesture.
See the picture right there?
Yep, and now Pettit clears the 9 of Vogt and goes after the 19 of McKeon. It has been a hard climb for Pettit up to 15th place after he had trouble in his qualifying race last night.
Yeah, he crashed hard last night. It didn't look that hard, but they had a lot of work to do. Upper, lower control arms, shock absorber, shock bracket. They were one of the last cars, in fact, to make it to the line this afternoon. Crew was all over that automobile literally from the moment that they arrived here early this morning until they absolutely had to be out on the line.
Got in the back of Lamar again for second place, and he may clear Lamar at turn 3. He does. Racing has become a contact sport between these two pretty much the season long.
We'll see what Lamar can do with him now. Lamar's car number 1. He's the guy that Kevin Harvick has hired. He'll be running in the Busch Series every event next year.
Very likable young fella, great attitude, and oh, look at this! Loose, loose.
Reel.
Hang on, Brandon Reel in the 69.
Just.
Tim Schendel in the 21. And looking back at the 28 of Thomas Martin. Trying to climb back up through.
This is way deep in the field. Reel is now running the 22nd spot.
That was Garrett Evans down on the track apron off the pace as they still come at us 3 wide. The view from Brandon Reel.
The deal is you got a bunch of fast cars back here, and for one reason or another, they all find themselves at the back of the pack, and we're getting close to that 75 lap point. We're on lap 67 now, lap 68, where they're going to get the break and an opportunity to adjust the car, and the further forward a guy is, the better off he's going to be. Pass him now. See the fire coming out the right side. The exhaust on these cars exit on the right side. Fuel builds up in the exhaust system. Then it just burns. Nice sighting. I like that. It's nice to see a little fire coming out as long as it's in control.
Eddie Stivers was the car that came to a halt, and that's how Pursley got in the wall. Stivers is out. Here's Jim.
Certainly nothing of your doing. What happened, Eddie?
Well, it would appear a wrist pin pulled away from a piston, just turned into a bandsaw, tore everything apart. It got so wild it even tore up the steering column. I even lost steering at the end. It absolutely grenaded the bottom of the engine. Everything's torn up in there.
Glad to see you're okay.
Well, no wonder he didn't get out of the way. He couldn't get out of the way.
Right. 5 laps to the competition caution.
Michael's still leading this event. He has been the dominant player all night long thus far. Car number 12 from San Bernardino, California. Local favorite, local hero. Lots of lap traffic in front of him.
And here's Pettit making the pass for 14th. Nick Jonitis.
He just keeps picking them off, doesn't he? It was his birthday yesterday.
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy.
Around goes Greg Pope, and that puts us under caution at lap 72. Now, the NASCAR officials have the option of designating a caution within 5 laps of the scheduled lap 75 caution as being the comp yellow, and I believe we'll go yellow 2 more laps and then send the cars to the pits. So let's see what happened to Pope. There's the leader, Michaels, coming up on him. Oh,
That's what happened to him. Like we were saying, traffic.
things that make you go.
Don't think they're going to get this under green again before the break. Laps are counting.
So 1 more lap, and then we'll see everybody pit side for a change of tires. And then they'll reline up after an approximately 10-minute competition break in the way they're running right now. Rick Michaels, Augie Vidovich. Bernie Lamar's cars seem to fall off in those last 20 laps. It's like these tires, like we said last night, 50 laps of grip and 25 laps of slip.
Yeah, but they've got an opportunity to put brand new ones on now and make whatever adjustments they want. If they want to change the track bar, the wedge, change the shock absorber, even change the spring, they can do all that on this pit stop.
Don Hawk is the director of NASCAR's Regional Touring Series. He's been running this event with his staff this weekend. But just in from Phoenix, NASCAR President Mike Helton, Vice President of Communications Jim Hunter is here, Vice President of Competition Robin Pemberton, Managing Director of Business Operations Steve O'Donnell, and a good judge of talent, Nextel Cup car owner Richard Childress came along for the ride. So they're among the interested spectators on hand here at Irwindale.
Pit stops coming up.
4 caution flags in the first 75 laps. Really only the third one took a long time to clean up, with 4 cars littered in various places around the racetrack.
And all will pit now. Everybody's on their way down pit road, make their adjustments, and put 4 fresh tires on.
And 34 of the 40 starters still running. So Rip Michaels leads them down. He's pitted at the far end around in turn number 2 in his stock building supply team. And we'll show you how they're running. At the break, 3 drivers from the Southwest Series lead this field, with M.K. Kankey, Eddie Hoffman 4th and 5th, Justin Dirks up for 6th. Bruce, Prince, Williams, and Lewis are the top 10. And the teams can take their time. This is not a
This side. Go out and talk to him.
well, little interesting discussion going on there.
Everybody up front has their own pit, but out in the back, they are sharing pits. So that's why you see these cars, see how they're nosed in this way? That's because they're all sharing pits out in the back.
Trying to find a parking space in Boston.
Yeah, but yeah, or Southern California, either way. But there's no great rush in this. Just take your time, make sure all the nuts and bolts are tight. And 10 minutes to do the work that needs to be done.
So you'll add fuel, you'll change tires. It'll be interesting to see what kind of chassis changes will be made to try to make these cars better than they were in the first 75 laps.
Hopefully not worse. It is so easy to dial yourself out in a situation like this, particularly for the cars that are running up front. Everybody trying to catch Rip Michaels. Let's get out of Jim.
Well, Jim Pettit was about to climb out of his car. The Southwest Series champion would have the belts undone, and he wants that car just right, Jim. You thought you maybe get a little bit higher up in the running. You got halfway through. Was your car better than it appeared by not getting by some cars that may have been too wide in front of you?
Well, you know, it was good racing out there, and me and Eddie McKean were having quite a battle there, you know, and you got to be there for the last 50 for it to count, and we're pretty happy starting way back where we are. We're within striking range. I was hoping to be in the top 8, but I think we're 12th or 13th right now, so we're still right there in the hunt, and we're gonna get this thing to the front, you know, and we got my sister Liz and all them out there watching this thing tonight, and we're gonna bring this thing home hopefully.
Crew chief by committee here. Dwayne Sharp, the regular team crew chief, home with his newborn twin girls. Mike Nake has stepped in. He's the spotter and crew chief. Down here, Ted Yamashiro's calling the shots, and Jim Pettit wants to get out and help him out. Ralph?
Jim, Rip Michaels has brought his car to a halt here. He's taking a quick sip out of the drink bottle. All right, Rip, how good is your car, and what are you going to have these guys do to it?
Well, we still got the same as last night. We're a little snug in the middle. We're throttle loose off, so we're going to try to just tighten it up off without killing the middle, you know.
What happened on that incident here as you got together with the lapper? I see a little smile out of your face.
Yeah, well, we're here to win the race, and if some lappers want to slow us down, we're just going to do what we got to do. You know, we committed to the bottom, and, you know, maybe you didn't know we were there, but we're just going to go. We ain't slowing down for nothing.
Mike?
Take no prisoners. Don't have
Well,
time.
you know, this is a big race. Last race of the year. You got to do what you got to do.
So we're in the competition halftime, 50 laps to go, and those will be 50 green flag laps to determine who's the best of the best in NASCAR's AutoZone Elite Series in the first half of the Toyota All-Star Showdown.
Welcome back to Speed Channel's live coverage from here at the Toyota All-Star Showdown. We're in the 10-minute intermission with the Elite Division race. Augie Vidovich running second place right now. Augie, some pretty aggressive driving to get to second. How good is your car?
We have a real good car. It seemed to be a little tight in the beginning and loose off, and it seems like it started to free up at the end of that run there. I mean, when you race these guys, you got to be aggressive. They don't give you nothing, and you can't expect it, so you got to race them how they race you. We're looking for a good finish tonight, though.
All right, Augie Vidovich getting his car set up and ready to go. Just in front of him, 2 pit stalls up, is Bernie Lamar, the car in the number 1 that sits 3rd in the field right now. We'll stick our window in here with Bernie as he takes his balaclava off. Bernie, how good is your car? It looked like it was pretty strong.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. We're just out here having a lot of fun, you know, and trying to give my car owners, Les and Sue Denherter, a good run out here. Hopefully we can win this thing before I turn over duties to drive the Dollar General number 77 next year. We're pretty happy with the HPS Gronder car, and I think my crew chief Mark Lundgren and the whole team here is going to give me a good car. So, you know, hopefully we're going to swing for the fence here and try to go for the win.
We heard your car was tight in the center and loose off. Did it fall off farther from that, or was it just Vinovich getting by you?
No, we've been fighting it all day, but I had Lance Siders, you know, from KHI here, and him and Mark are they're putting their heads together. We're going to be swinging for the fence here.
Sounds like everybody's going to get pretty intense here towards the finish of this one, Jim.
Ralph, some minor adjustments on this end of pit road, but major adjustments here for Jeff Fultz. I saw rear shocks going in, Jeff, but there's more to the story. What do you think's wrong?
Well, when we started the race, I think we broke an axle. The cars just went very bad. We're going to try a couple shocks, but, you know, we hate to come all the way out here. We had this car has won a lot of races, and we got out here and started to green, and then something snapped in the rear end, and now I can't hardly drive it. We're just going to try some shocks, and if that don't work, we're going to park the CNC Bull or Chevrolet. We hate it. Volunteer gave us a great motor. Got to thank AutoZone and everybody who's put this race on, Toyota. Hate not being able to run with these guys, and we're a long way from home, but we can't control what happens with parts.
Fultz pounded the steering wheel as he pulled to a stop. This also may be his last race in this series, so he's trying to get a better run. We'll see.
Thanks, Jim.
Well, that's big. That's really big. Were you paying close attention to what the driver said? If you were, what you heard was tight in the middle, loose off, everybody's struggling.
50 green flag laps to go. And then the NASCAR Grand National Division takes to the track in Irwindale, so don't go away. A lot of action in the first 75 laps here at Irwindale tonight as Rip Michaels took off with the early lead from Bernie Lamar. There's 39, Pete Harding going for a spin. And then contact, putting Nick Lynch around in the 2 and Thomas Martin in the 28. Late in the going, Michaels comes up to try to lap the 63 of Greg Pope, and Pope goes around, bringing out the caution that sent us to halftime. The team results. The Southeast Series, 1,300 points. Excuse me, the Southwest Series, the hometowners here, easily outdistancing their counterparts from the Midwest, Northwest, and Southeast. So the hometown favorites, as expected, piled up the bonus money in the team competition, which ends here at lap 75. Here on out, every man for himself, 50 green flag laps to get it done.
Of course, Rip Michaels leading virtually this entire race. That surely does help.
Well, it does, but you've got to add up the running position of all 10 representatives of your series,
right,
whether they're running or not,
right,
to garner the team prize.
Good chunk of change in all that.
Yep.
That gets spread throughout the guys that win it, and even the folks that in the group finishes second.
So 29 cars will be on the lead lap when we restart, and another 5 cars 1 lap down when we take the green flag shortly here.
They're going to take a couple of pace laps before they drop the green. NASCAR officials have toured the racetrack, cleaned it up where it needed to be cleaned up.
And caution laps not counting.
Not anymore.
Nope. Now we're down to a Saturday night short track shootout.
Now it gets real serious. If you thought they were serious before, watch this next 50 laps.
Now, Justin Dirks will receive an unusual penalty. They fueled that car, I believe, if I saw correctly, not using a standard dump can with a dry brake, but using like a 5-gallon jerry can. That's not illegal. But not having a catch can man to catch any overflow, that is. So he'll be penalized.
And the key for that is you don't want any fuel being spilled. So catch can would have been a very good idea, and I'm sure Dirks will always have a catch can behind his race car, no matter where he races and for whom for the rest of his career.
2-time champion of the Midwest Series. And here's Ralph with one of the big prizes for our 2 winners tonight.
Boy, Mike, you get a lot of nice stuff when you win this thing. Not only do you get the use of a Toyota truck for a year, but you get one of these great rings to show off to all your friends. This is winning the big time. This is the kind of stuff you get. These are the kinds of prizes the guys want more than anything, because this proves over the years how big and how bad and how tough you were on one specific night out in Irwindale, California.
Thanks, Ralph. Getting set for the restart here.
Side by side. Michaels and Vinovich.
Green flag. 50 laps to go. Bernie Lamar to the bottom, 3 wide into turn 1. That wouldn't work.
Nope. 3 wide everywhere, all through the field.
Vinovich wants the lead on the outside.
And that right now is likely the preferred line upstairs. He's got it.
Third lead change of the night. Lamar continues to work on the 12 of Michaels for second place. FK Kanky in third. And a little further back, it's busy back here with Dusty Williams in the 40 and Gary Lewis in the 73, battling Kevin Prince in the 87.
Very close traffic right now.
And there's Jim Pettit in 03 right in the midst of it, trying to forge his way up into the top 10, and he's done it. He's in 10th place.
That's where he wanted to be.
NASCAR President Mike Helton joins us after a quick flight up from Phoenix and today's Busch Series race. Glad to have you with us.
Good to be here.
This is such a fun event for these drivers. They work so hard just to qualify for an invitation to this race. And then it gets really busy.
Yeah, it does. And I was watching the races last night after the truck race was over.
Trouble.
Uh-oh. That's Kevin Prince backing hard into the wall off the front bumper of Jim Pettit. The 5 also spins of J.R. Norris. The 20 is involved, Andrew Morrissey, and the 18 of John Bender.
That's been good. But they just got awful close together in a 3 deep situation, and it didn't work. Excuse me.
That's okay. This is much more important.
It just seems as if something's going on here about every lap, Mike.
That's why they're all here tonight watching it home on TV, because this is exciting.
Here we go.
Pettit squeezes up into Lewis's 73 right there. And then Prince comes down into Pettit, and no way to go.
No. You know, when that green flag drops, you got to go. Those first few laps are an opportunity to pass a lot of cars. It might just be easier to pass them when the green first comes out, but by the same token, it's a risky strategy. This is exactly what can happen. Wow.
Got a little tight there, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. Poor Lewis.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah, he had just rebuilt that race car from a crash a few weeks ago.
All right, we'll have more with NASCAR President Mike Helton when we return. There is Kevin Prince's Landafrost Chevrolet. Kevin is okay. He's out surveying the damage. 5th caution flag so far for the Elite Division at Irwindale.
Welcome back to Irwindale Speedway. While the Southwest Series had dominated the first 75 laps, the defending and 3-time champion, 2-time champion Jim Pettit has been behind the wall. He started 37th after getting the right front cleaned off last night in the qualifying race. Well, after that incident, they're going back to the same equipment they had to re-weld and repatch in this 03 car. They're feverishly trying to get the upper and lower control arm set in position to get Pettit back out on the racetrack. Pettit's won here before. He was very confident in that halfway break. He was able to advance to the front. It's going to be a longer night for Pettit.
He did get up into the top 10. Let's remind you, folks, caution laps do not count. So Pettit, despite being in the pits under repair, is still a lead lap car. Mike Helton with us, and every short tracker and every touring series driver, you win your championship, you know you're the best in your series, but it'd be neat to find out if you're the best in America, and that's why NASCAR developed rules commonality to bring all these fellas together, give them this opportunity. It really is a great chance, not just for them to run and try to beat the fellas from other parts of the country, but attract the eye of some very important people watching from here and from Phoenix.
Oh, there's without a doubt. I mean, the effort for 2 or 3 years was to create a program that would showcase regional racers, because they work so hard to do what they do every week at the racetracks, at their homes and everything, and inside their regions. So the first step was to make the rules common so that you could put cars out there and there was not a competitive advantage with one group or another. And then it was find a place where you could showcase this type of racing that's kind of the heart and soul of NASCAR, and I couldn't think of a nicer place than Irwindale Speedway to do that at, and it's been a lot of success. The competitors now look forward to the opportunity to be here in the shootout, and Toyota's been a great sponsor promoting the event and building up enthusiasm around it. Irwindale's a great host for it. Couldn't beat the weather this time of year to find a place to do this in, and I think last night's races and tonight's races are indicative of the regional programs that NASCAR have across the country, and that's why we had a great interest in being able to bring them together and showcase them and give them an opportunity where East meets West and Midwest and all the others. And it's kind of fun saying you got a couple of California guys, a North Carolina guy, forward back is an Illinois guy, and that's what it's all about. I mean, that's NASCAR type racing, and we don't do that on a regional level, but this gives us one opportunity during the year to do that.
And now the frosting on the cake becomes some of these fellows have gotten the call to try to move up to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series or the Busch Series.
And it's an aggressive program in the National Series, the trucks and the Busch and the Cup, to say, all right, where's my next driver coming from? And this is a great opportunity to show. I'm sure there's a lot of owners back in the buses in Phoenix or in the hotels in Phoenix watching tonight. Richard Childress came with us. He wanted to see it firsthand. And that's another great icing on the cake, as you say.
How does this fit in with NASCAR's ladder system, Mike?
It's very much a fit into the NASCAR ladder system. Our Dodge Weekly program, which is celebrated in Nashville a couple of weeks ago, or last weekend actually, is the heart and soul of the regional weekly program. And then this level of racing, the regional racing, whether it's Elite or Grand National, gives a very local team an opportunity to compete on a more tour-like basis in a regional level that doesn't break the bank, if you will. And so that kind of preps or invites you to step up. And if you're so inclined to enjoy that, then the National Series are next to step up into and go against a routine group of competitors every weekend.
Well, all of our hearts and our roots are in weekly short track racing, I know, including yours. So
absolutely.
Glad to have you here.
Glad to be here, and I couldn't think of a couple of better guys to have on the microphones to talk about tonight than you and Dick. So it's a lot of fun. It's a great weekend, and we were excited that this year it was close enough to hop from the Cup track to the shootout and be a part of it.
That's great. Glad to have you and your folks here.
Nice to be here. Thanks, man.
Mike Helton, president of NASCAR, as we cross 80 laps with Augie Vidovich in the lead, Rick Michaels, Bernie Lamar, M.K. Kanky, and Eddie Hoffman, the top five, 45 laps to run.
Jim Pettit's work is done. He is about ready to leave the pits. He will pick up the field in the back.
But he is on the lead lap.
Yes, he is. A lot of work ahead of him.
Green flag. And right away, Michaels goes to the bottom, and he wants the lead back.
Michaels just wants to lead every lap. He's not much of a sharing fella.
Can't say I blame him. Vidovich has found his car to work well on the outside. He's not going to give it up without a fight.
They got a bunch of very strong cars up front. Long way to go before this one's over. Key now, take care of your stuff. Make sure you got good tires on it for the end. Don't burn them up too quickly.
Michaels again with the low look at turn one. This time he gets a good drive off of turn two. He'll get into turn three alongside Vidovich, but he's been having trouble coming off four on the bottom.
That's where he loses ground virtually every lap, Mike. He might just sort of follow Vidovich for a little while and save those tires.
One car around, and that is Harding for the second time tonight. The rest of the field scatters, and we go to caution at lap 83. Brandon Reel involved there in that one. Here's Jim.
Guys, Pete Harding's team said they lost track position last year at the halfway break by taking on tires. Harding is still on the same four Hoosier tires he started the race on. That might have been him.
Yikes.
Can't figure that one out.
Brandon Witt joins us. He drives the Red Horse Racing Toyota Tundra in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. We're talking to Mike Helton about the NASCAR ladder system and about working your way to the top And boy, you've done it and have some impressive results for that team.
Yeah, thanks. You know, Irwindale is one of the places that I did start racing late models, super late models, and even the elite series here. And you know, when I was in the elite series, we didn't have this great shootout that Toyota puts on now. But you know, it is a great learning curve, and these cars are awesome to drive. And you know, a lot of great names have come out of this series.
I know you've been an interested spectator so far in these first 84 laps. Who do you like?
Well, I don't know. Those first 3 cars are pretty tight. You know, all these guys have a lot of experience here. Rip Michaels probably has the most out of those 3, so probably think he's got the best shot at it.
How tough is it to pay attention to all the different cars? I mean, you got cars on the bottom, cars on the top, cars in the middle, cars behind you.
Yeah, that's the coolest thing about this track is you can run anywhere up against the fence down on the white line, and you know, usually the car that can get it to work down on the bottom becomes dominant, but everyone seems to be having a big problem down there.
Well, let's have a look. Stay with us for a minute, Brandon. Let's have a look at what happened. To put Pete Harding around for the second time tonight. He's the yellow 39. The first time he just went around on his own, and this time, well, did he come down in front of Brandon Reel? Did Brandon come up?
Well, Reel was way
for the same spot.
Yeah, Reel was way down on the bottom of the racetrack. I mean, he was below the white line, so he can't get much lower than that. One more angle.
Yeah, I think Reel was as low as he could go.
Yeah. Without
getting himself in trouble when the contact started.
Get real low on this racetrack, and it's pretty close to flat. That's a spinner for sure.
So, Brandon, how do you set up for this racetrack? You've got the short way around on the bottom. That's the flat way. You've got the middle groove. And then you've got up top, which is higher bank, but it's the long way around. So where do you set up to run?
I mean, you generally set up to run around the outside here. You know, you want to make sure your car can pass it on the bottom, but the thing is, you go to the bottom, the guy on the outside has so much momentum on you that when you come out side by side, you just get beat down the straightaway, so it's real hard. You know, it's working up high is probably the best place around here.
All right, hang around for another segment, if you will. Brandon Witt, who drives in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series for Toyota and is a graduate of this type of racing here at Irwindale. We're under caution. We'll be right back. In one lap, the field will go green, but without Southeast Series champion Jeff Fultz. Jim is with him.
Jeff, obviously it was too bad to continue. Was it still that lap one incident that brought you behind the wall?
Yeah, we just broke something in this thing. You know, we wanted to kind of get out of here on top. You know, this is probably our last race in this stuff, and it's been a great run. Enjoyed this series and stuff. Definitely looking to move up and do something else, and hopefully we broke a rear end or something and it just took us out from the first lap, and it's a bad deal.
Will we see you and car owner Jimmy Craig in another series next year?
We're still talking things out and see what we can do, but, you know, hopefully we'll find something. Definitely looking.
Green flag, and Vidovich easily distances Rip Michaels into turn number 1 with Lamar in third, Kankey in fourth, Hoffman, Bruce, and Lewis.
Lamar tried to get his nose on the outside. He wanted the upstairs line, but the 12 of Michaels just said, no way. He wants to be up there. Everybody wants to be high tonight.
Got to go back to about 8th place to find a side-by-side battle, so let's do that. There's the 73, Gary Lewis. On the low side, the 40 is Dusty Williams out of Georgia, and the 41, Chris Davidson from Texas. 28 of Thomas Martin, who started up near the front, trying to get back into it.
Williams was at Phoenix as well on Thursday, raced there, launched the motor, changed the engine at Phoenix before leaving and coming here to this racetrack. So they've been busy.
Brandon, does this racetrack change a lot through the course of a race?
Yeah, it does. You know, especially from daytime to nighttime, it does get a ton more grip at night. And you know, throughout a race, it'll get more rubber, but it generally doesn't seem to get much tighter.
Turn 2. Harding is around for the 3rd time tonight, but this time it was not of his doing. He had a lot of help to bring out the caution at lap 89.
He is going to remember this night.
All right, Brandon Witt is with us. We're 89 out of 125 laps in the AutoZone Elite Division feature event at the NASCAR Toyota All-Star Showdown at Irwindale. back to Irwindale, California with Dick Berggren and NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series driver Brendan Wood. I'm Mike Joy. We are 89 laps complete. 36 to go in the first half of tonight's twin bill. And it looks as if this racetrack has indeed changed from the first 75 laps, because now the front five all running up high. You're not seeing a lot of these mid-green flag runs at the leader or runs to change position. Everybody's kind of holding station.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's kind of the characteristic of this place. Real hard to go down on the bottom, but if you can get it to work, you're going to shine.
Well, let's show you what happened to Pete Harding this time around. Yeah, this was not of his making.
No, he just got squeezed in this one.
Yep, the 9 of Greg Vogt of Santa Barbara got into the back of him. And that turned Harding around, and didn't look like there was any damage further back.
He's got to be feeling like a victim at about this point, Mike. Feeling like he'd probably like to be back in Canada, too.
Yeah, that's a long tow home.
Yeah, especially
for Harding when this one's over.
Especially after a night like this. 27 cars still on the lead lap. 27 drivers with a shot to win this thing.
And the leader, 2003 Southwest Series champ, Augie Vidovich. Most popular driver twice in that series. Raced late models at Mesa Marin. And the International Road Racing Association of Willow Springs. Did a lot of go-kart racing early in his career. He is 24 years old. And hoping for the biggest night of his career right now. And the man right behind him, Rip Michaels, one of the winningest all-time drivers in the very short history of Irwindale Speedway. He was this track's super late model champion in 2003. Won the NASCAR Dodge Regional Championship, and then in 2004 he was Rookie of the Year in the Southwest Series and was the runner-up in this race 1 year ago.
NASCAR making very sure that everybody is in their proper position. That's what's going on right now. Anybody have an unfair advantage? They do have electronic scoring here, so they know exactly where everybody is supposed to be. We're getting ready for a restart right now with Vidovich in the lead, Michael second, Lamar third, and M.K. Kanky in fourth spot. He has run up front all night long in that red number 33 car. Look at Bernie Lamar on the bottom.
Wham!
Oh boy!
Michaels get together.
Hang on, Michaels.
And Rip Michaels is around the field, splits him, and nobody gets in the back of him.
Oh, I'll bet he'll be angry on that one.
Is there a full moon?
Yeah, might as well be.
Well, I mean, Lamar declared for the low lane all the way from turn 4. And that's a little late in it.
It is amazing that nobody connected with Michaels. All right, get another look at it.
You know, Bernie tried to drive it in there so hard. Yeah. Brandon looked like he just pushed up into Michaels just enough to turn him.
That's the problem with the bottom here. It's a lot less banking down there, and you know, you drive it in half a car length too deep, you're going to push up just as much, just that little bit that he did, and you know, you're on the edge, and around he goes.
But you know, Bernie didn't move up more than about a foot up off the bottom, so you know, was Michael coming to close down on the bottom too? There's probably a little bit of blame to go around.
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
We'll be back to Irwindale after this. We're under caution again. It was one of those racing deals. Bernie Lamar pushed up in turn 1 as Rick Michaels was coming down. No penalty assessed. So we'll restart with Vidovich the leader, Lamar in second, Kanky third, Hoffman and Bruce, while Michaels goes to the back as being the car that brought out the caution. 35 laps to go.
Time to not save anything. Time to go. Showtime.
But the last time these two drivers were this close on the racetrack was just a couple days ago in Phoenix, Arizona, on lap 1 of the Southwest Tour finale. And when the dust settled, 15 cars were wrecked.
We got a big smoker. Right front tire rub on car number 9. Vote.
Big battle here for 5th place. Bruce in the 8, Lewis in the 73. Wilbur Bruce from Tacoma, Washington on the inside.
Eddie Hoffman right up in front of them. Bottom lane has not been the fastest place to be all night long. It's been upstairs that the speed has found. Gary, boy, he is just pouring smoke off that car.
Yeah, Greg Vogt was the car that got into the back of Harding and turned him around. That's what put the fender down on the tire for car number 9.
Well, that smoke will probably either go away or that tire will go away, one or the other. The tire should move the fender off it if it doesn't fail first.
Briefly, we'll mention Jim Pettit, who's up to 19th after having to make that shock and A-frame change.
Oh, spinner in turn 3-4.
Turn 4. Around goes the 0-1. He was racing side by side with Pettit. That's Josh Bauer from Random Lake, Wisconsin. FYE Chevrolet. That's where the Muellers are from. Used to field cup cars from Jim Sauter up in Random Lake.
Car number 89.
Millers, excuse me. It's spelled Mueller, pronounced Miller.
Well, all these restarts are not the sort of thing Vidovich is looking for. He surely would like to be able to just keep going on the green, but that's not what's happening.
9th caution flag of the evening comes out at lap 96. 29 laps to go. We'll be right back. Getting set for the restart. Rip Michaels picked up 7 spots in 7 laps before that caution. The first 3 drivers are from the Southwest Tour. Here is the first driver not from the home series. Jim?
And Eddie Hoffman is one of the 4 Midwest Series drivers that have competed in each of the 3 showdowns now. Hoffman may have had more miles on the racetrack than any of the competition out here. He towed down to Nashville last weekend. 2 weeks prior to that, he was in Rockford, Illinois. He won the short track nationals for the 2nd time. He also won the CRA Touring Late Model Championship. So talk about miles on the track. They towed from Chicago here, but they had to stop in Nashville first. So these guys certainly have a lot of miles under their belt. That experience may be paying off right now for Hoffman.
Green flag, Vidovich and Lamar once again.
That time Lamar made no effort whatsoever to try to get beside Vidovich on the restart.
Brandon, what does Bernie Lamar need to do to try to get to the lead?
And it's just, you see how frustrating it is all over the place. When you get underneath someone, the guy on the outside gets such a run on the outside. It's just so frustrating to get your car to work down on the bottom, and that's what Bernie's going through right now, is trying to get
back straightaway. Trouble.
Big trouble.
28 and 19 are in it. Thomas Martin and Eddie McKeon. Martin's trouble started coming off turn number 2 when he squeezed up high in front of the 40 of Dusty Williams.
And McKean's hood is up. He can't see a thing, but he's still driving around the racetrack. Thomas Martin. Look at this. How does he know where he is going?
A good spotter?
I guess. I hope he's not driving by Braille. Hit something you know you're not supposed to be there.
No, you only do that under green.
Oh, okay. A lot of debris on the racetrack.
And there's a cold and Hardy bunch. The spotters up here atop the suite level of the main grandstand here at Irwindale. Jim?
Well, they're going to work on Eddie McKean's car. The 2002 Southwest Series champion went from 19th to 9th at the break. I checked with his crew shortly after. They were comfortable with the car. They only changed tires, not even air pressure adjustments. So Eddie was trying to be patient here in the final laps. And keep in mind, guys, he's finished top 5 in the Southwest Series points for 5 straight seasons. That means he's running a lot of races here at Irwindale. One of the stops once or twice, if not 3 times, on the Southwest Series schedule. So big disappointment for these guys.
Let's show you what happened. It started at turn 2, where the 28 of Martin squeezed up the racetrack in front of the 40 of Dusty Williams, right up toward the wall, and hooks the 5 of J.R. Norris. And around he goes.
One more view of the same thing. Eddie McKean in the middle of that, in that blue car, hood up. That's it. He's driving by radar from here. And one more look.
Yeah, he was trying to give the 40 room. It looked like it came down in front of Norris.
Thomas Martin has had a weekend to remember for sure. In Phoenix, Arizona, they had the car up on wheel scales. The car came off. 2 people were under it, including his father. Both of them are not only okay, they're here working on that car this weekend.
Thomas, okay, the car is not. And as you saw McKean's hood flip up, what you didn't see on the outside of that hood was Wide World of Maps, which has been sponsoring this kind of cars on the West Coast for a whole lot longer than I've been covering racing. It's good to have them still involved. The 15 is getting towed off the front stretch with front end damage. Somehow John Dillon of Boise, Idaho, in the Frontier Equipment number 15 was involved in that one as well. So Eddie McKean's car is behind the wall. Jim is with him.
The guys, Eddie's guys are going, this rear end is hit and is skew. I don't know if they're going to be able to get it back out. But Eddie, it sounded like you were pretty happy with the car after the break.
Yeah, it wasn't great. We was good to run in on our 10th and 12th. We're still tight in the middle. You know, I want to thank Wide World of Maps for helping us out this year in Victory Circle. We had a great season this year, finished third in the points, and my crew's done a great job. We just got somebody's mess there, and I got turned down after Thomas got spun, but the guy behind me was already on me, and it just tore everything up. We're going to try to get it fixed. I don't think it's going to do any good right now, so we'll see what we can do, and we'll come back next year strong.
The thoughts of Eddie McKean was going to be back behind the desk at Magic Valley Pipe in Idaho on Monday.
Thanks, Jim. John Dillon actually got into McKean, and that was the problem. And he's coming, kind of like Christmas. Rip Michaels picked up another 5 spots in the 2 laps we just ran before caution. He is back up to 19th position. Seven green flag laps to go in the first half of tonight's doubleheader. 24-year-old Augie Vidovich trying to hold off Bernie Lamar, MK Kanky, the 0 of Eddie Hoffman, and the 73 of Gary Lewis. Here's Ralph.
Mike, kind of an interesting scenario playing out here with the 11 and the 1. Of course, Augie Vidovich drives the number 11. Crew chief for the number 11, Mike Harvick. Sound familiar? Yep, it's Kevin Harvick's dad. The guy driving the number 1, Bernie Lamar. Going to be soon to be the driver for Kevin Harvick when they move to the Busch Series next year. I asked Mike, how's it feel to be leading your boy's kid? He goes, pretty cool, huh?
Back under green, 27 laps to go. Lewis going after the 0, Hoffman for 4th place. Got him, tagged him, straightened it out, hang on, he holds on.
Barely.
Whoa.
Lewis, a great job of driving that orange number 73. He's on the outside, a little bit of contact there with Hoffman as well. This isn't over yet. Wow, Lewis sideways yet again.
The 2 goes around off the front bumper of the 5. Nick Lynch spinning off J.R. Norris. As Lynch tried to go for the bottom, that's where Norris was. And we get a caution.
Well, that's no surprise.
How did Lewis hang on to that car
I don't know.
coming out of 3?
That was just plain driver, all driver. And look at this, 3 wide. Do you suppose that there's a conversation going on there?
Yeah, this is under caution. This is live.
Yeah, and I'm really glad we can't televise the words that are going on in this exchange as well.
NASCAR will sort out the positions. They are scoring. The 73 Lewis ahead of the 0 and the 8. We'll double check that.
Hoffman in there too.
Well, we said the adrenaline was overflowing, and it is. Jim?
Was just checking in with Gary Lewis's team. His dad Ralph is the owner and the crew chief. They said they think they might have had something left. It came from way back in the field. He got stuck in gear last night in the qualifying race, and Gary had to start back in 34th position. He had something, all right. He had a heck of a save as well. Just about when he said, guys, I got something for these boys, he made his move. Might have cost him with that big long slide and save in turn 4.
All right, let's show you what happened here as they continue to discuss positions under caution. The 5 under the 2, and it's going to be 4 wide. Well, no, it's not, because they're hooked.
Yeah. And we've seen that so many times tonight. Car way down on the bottom, and then another one a little bit higher, and they get together.
Now, who benefits from all these cautions? We'll show you in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, tough break for Lynch. started this race up toward the front. Yeah, I would say the big beneficiary is this man, Rip Michaels, who got spun out of second place because even though we just completed 2 more laps, he's climbed a couple more positions. He's up to 15th.
Yep.
Picking him off.
And the Deuce of Lynch has pitted.
Now, I don't think there's enough time or enough caution flags left for Michaels to get back to the front, but he's sure giving it a game try.
Yeah, he is. With them not counting cautions, that's helping him out too.
Right.
He's gaining more laps.
Ralph?
Mike, these cautions have been great for Rip Michaels to pick up some more drivers as he works his way up through the field, but they're absolutely killing Augie Vidovich right now. The reason being, they didn't fill the fuel tank up all the way during that break. Of course, as you know, the heavier the car, the slower you go. So you try to guess just how much fuel will we need to get to the finish. Well, the more cautions we get, and we're not counting cautions, the more fuel they burn off, the closer they're getting to that window when they're going to be on fumes. And Mike Harvick told me, we keep going like this, it's going to be close.
Oh, Ralph, that strategy scares me. I mean, you get a race like this that's this important that everybody wants to win, and caution laps don't count, and you know you're going to have a bunch of them.
Yeah. Well, you think you probably are, but, you know, I can understand by the same token why they'd want to do that. It's not just the weight of it. That weight is behind the rear axle, and that is what makes the car want to try to spin, and everybody's been loose coming off. So good reason to do that. That's not just a silly maneuver, but it's one that could come back and hurt them badly.
25 laps to go, single file restart. Green flag.
Lewis on the bottom, way on the bottom with that orange number 73 car. Lewis started all the way back in the 34th spot tonight in that orange 73. He right now is in 4th position. Rebuilt the car for this race. A lot of work went into it to make it just right for here. He's very, very hungry, desperate to win a race before this season ends.
They're the biggest movers tonight. Jim Pettit trying to get back into the top 10. He was up there earlier, but he had trouble. He and Lewis are the biggest movers. Pettit and Michaels both trying to get to the top 10, but that is no easy chore.
Car number 8, Wilbur Brooks, has had a good night right up till that moment. He's from Tacoma, Washington. Started in 15th position. Right now he is running at 6th spot, so he too has passed some cars. The car was new this year.
Now there's Pettit alongside Carlson. Carlson 66, Jim Pettit the 03, and right behind Pettit, there's that green machine. Michaels is right in the thick of this battle from about 9th on back.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Greg Fowler gets the black flag. A lot of body damage on his car from contact.
Well, they need to do that.
Pettit and Michaels are now nose to tail, and they're just unable to gain any ground on Steve Carlson. There they are running the bottom. Carlson squirts through the middle, trying to get past the 40 of Dusty Williams. Oh, Carlson,
boy.
goodbye.
Carlson lost it. Whoa.
And look at
still going on.
that got ugly.
Yes, it did.
In a hurry.
69, a reel in there.
Dusty Williams and Steve Carlson in, and there's a reel. The 2 spins as well. There are about 5 cars in it. We'll show you what happens when we come back. We're at lap 106. Jim Pettit and Rip Michaels have both climbed into the top 10. We're under caution. A lot of damage to Andrew Morrissey's car. He's going to climb out. Steve Carlson has gone to the infield, and the 69 of Brandon Reel is on the record. Let's show you why. Now watch the 66, the black car.
Something happened in the right front corner of that car, Mike. Whether he had a tire go out, but something happened. There was smoke coming out of that right front corner just as he lost control.
9-time Midwest Series champ Steve Carlson triggered this one. Jim, what happened?
And this here piece of spaghetti is the main water line coming from the radiator to the motor. That came apart. Steve Carlson, that's your motor. You're out of it. That must have been what happened.
Well, yeah, that's what broke. I had bad luck all night. I got a flat tire early. We got the car running pretty good. we're on the board. We're top 10. We're out.
Best finish of 15th in 3 tries for the 9-time Midwest champ. Ralph?
Well, we're down here with Thomas Martin, who just squeaked into the showdown this year, just made it into the points by 9 at the last race, and now, unfortunately, Thomas, you're out. What took you out, and explain what you saw?
Yeah, I really don't know what took me out. I'm going to wait to see tape before I see that. But we got taken out in the first yellow flag where under yellow got spun but didn't maintain speed, so got sent to the back, worked our way back up into the top 10, and really don't know what happened. Got hit from behind, spun down the straightaway.
You know, Mike, kind of interesting. Thomas Martin's from the gold country of California, from Auburn, California. In fact, his family moved there in the 1800s, before Auburn was even Auburn.
Well, there are fewer contenders, but Jim Pettit has moved to 9th, and Rip Michaels up to 10th as they've repaired the damage on the side of Greg Fowler's car. The Navajo Shed are us shocked by R2 Chevrolet.
Well, they sort of repaired the damage on that car. He had a big crash earlier this year in Kentucky, Mike, and that crash was so hard it sheared virtually the entire body off. Fortunately, this crash wasn't as bad, but the body is, by and large, gone.
18 laps to go. Brandon Witt with us. Can Bernie Lamar or MK Kanke have a good shot at Audie Vidovich here?
I don't know. He looks pretty strong. Those 2 cars, just hoping he probably makes a mistake, but he looks pretty stout right now.
Pace truck is in. 18 laps to go to finish this one off.
Don't count Gary Lewis out either. In that orange number 73, he has driven a very aggressive and a very smart race.
And Pettit and Michaels still trying to gain some spots before this one's done. Justin Dirk side by side for 6th with the 41 of Chris Davidson. Dirk's in the 29. There's Michaels coming along with Pettit side by side.
Dirks earlier shuffled to the rear. Done a great job. Put himself back up through the traffic.
Right, had a penalty for no catch can. Yeah, he's worked his way back up through. Let's check with Jim.
Brandon Rail had an adventurous night. Brandon, what did you see from your perspective?
We just got into some water, oil, and it happened to us twice tonight. Same corner. It's just the way it goes. It's a real fast track. You get into the oil, and you got no place to go. I just want to thank my sponsors, Aero Mufflers. We had a good car. It was a fun night. Hopefully they got some good coverage.
Second in Northwest points, guys. You also dipped down and did 9 Southwest Series events this year. So a busy man with a busy winter ahead fixing this race car.
Thanks, Jim. You know, I'm not sure that Rip Michaels can't win this race. He is still coming in that number 12.
He's got just 15 laps to do it.
He's up to 8.
See, that car's working down there on the bottom for him. Not a lot of cars are doing that, so he can get down there, and that's how he's made some of those passes.
Well, that's the deal. With everybody else running upstairs, if you can make a car work on the bottom, you're going to make some time here.
Jim Pettit trying to come right up through with him on the inside. Everybody else pretty much in the high groove except for 73 Lewis. But getting alongside somebody here is one thing. Clearing them seems to be quite another.
Yeah, that's the hardest part, is you just getting in front of them from down there on the bottom, because they get such a run coming off, and you can see that. You know, 29 car down there is just getting that run coming off, and it's probably aggravating the heck out of Rip.
I think he was aggravated from the moment he spun out of second place much earlier in this event tonight. The adrenaline surely is pumping.
Turn 4, a car around.
It's the 5.
Now put us under caution once again, J.R. Norris. Yep. And that caution was just what Michaels wanted to see. He is up to 7th.
Well, we like to see the fire coming out the right side as long as it eventually goes out. This one is not. It's confined thus far to the exhaust system of the car. Some fuel burning off.
13th caution flag of the night.
Getting warm.
Let's have a look.
There we go. He's got a fire. He's already around.
Yeah, the 9 was slipping and sliding in there as well. Same time, Greg Vogt, Santa Barbara. I think the right side damage, the right front damage, was from an earlier collision.
And again, earlier collision in the right front last night, too. So between that accident, today they changed the right front spindle, ball joints. Yesterday they had to change an engine in that car as well. These guys have really worked. Whatever they go home with, they will have earned.
Gonna let you make your way down to the flex stand to get this next party started, because we're only in the first half of this doubleheader. But Brandon, thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
Good to have you along, and best wishes for continued success with you and the Red Horse team.
All right, well, thanks for having me on. It was fun.
Great, thanks. Good to see you.
Win. And let's go back down to pit road.
And there were Tim Schendel. And Tim, it looked like it was something out of your control. Your Western swing started out good, a 4th in Phoenix. You traveled here to Irwindale, but the damage obviously too much.
Oh, yeah. I hate it for the guys. You know, we worked awful hard, kind of had a bad run last night, got us behind, and we were trying to work up out of it and just really trying to survive and working on the car and trying to make the best of it we could. And just kind of lingering around in that 15th position. I think Carlson blew a radiator hose and got into it. By the time I wondered why them cars were sliding sideways and went down to the bottom of the racetrack, by that time it was too late and slid into Brandon real pretty hard. And just hate it for, you know, our team and Matthew Solo Cam Tech Power Energy. Wish we could have had a better day.
How big of a deal is it for you coming out of the Midwest to race against the best in the elite division?
Oh, it's tough. You know, it's the talent pool is so you know, deep, and everybody's really good, and you're racing for 15th position, like you're racing for the lead. You know, every position is like, you know, just really hard to get to pass cars. So it's really tough.
Ralph?
J.R. Norris is down here in the big pit area, and he was getting ready to get out of the car, and then all of a sudden the crew came running over and buckled him back up. They're sticking him back into the race, Mike.
That's because caution laps don't count. He's got a shot to get back out there. He's going to lose one lap doing it, it looks like, because we're going back to green.
Lamar took a quick look at the bottom, but just cannot seem to do anything about getting alongside the number 11 Davidovich, who has dominated this end of the race.
Rip Michaels did, though. He's now battling side by side for 6th place.
Michaels all the way from the back to 6th spot.
Norris trying to stay on the lead lap in front of leader Vidovich. Lamar in 2nd in the number 1. Kanky 3rd. 4th is Hoffman. 5th is Lewis, and Michaels side by side for 6th with the 41 of Chris Davidson.
And we are running out of time. 8 to go.
Wouldn't surprise me if Michaels could get to the top 5. What a drive tonight after being spun out of 2nd place. Ralph?
Mike, it's all about laps and track position right now. I talked to Rip Michaels' crew. They said we've got a very good race car. Unfortunately, we're running out of those track positions and laps to gain more spots.
Yep, he needs about 2 more cautions, and right now there's just 7 laps to go.
Vidovich well out in front, in command here. You see the gap between himself and Lamar.
There's the distance. Lamar now has a mirror full of Kanky. And then a little gap back to Illinois' Hoffman, Lewis, and Michaels. 5 to go.
I don't think this one's over yet, Mike.
This is 2nd place.
Kanky in the 33, Lamar in the number 1. They have run nose to tail for much of this event. Kanky, a solid competitor in that number 33 car.
Now, Bernie Lamar told me earlier today, Mike Kanky is one of the best drivers in this whole 70-car field.
And he told him right, too.
Three to go.
Dirksen Davidson. Right behind him, the 8 of Bruce. With 3 laps to go.
And the 12 of Michaels, turn 3. He is under the 73 of Gary Lewis. That's for a top 5 spot.
This battle is for 8th right here.
And it's a good one.
Sure is. 39, Pete Harding, listed as 10th spot. Here comes the white. Vidovich.
1 lap to go for Vidovich. This is the race. Lamar in 2nd. Kanky in 3rd, and here 4th and 5th. Rip Michaels has climbed to battle for a top 5 spot with Lewis. Last time around. He shoves it in deep.
Whoa.
Slides up, but doesn't get the drive off the corner. Lewis is going to hang on and deny Michaels a return to the top 5. But the star of the night has got to be Rip Michaels. Led a lot of this race. In fact, he led all but one of the first 54 laps, or all but one of the first 75 laps. Got punted out of second place and came all the way back for 6th. Here's the man going to victory lane, 24-year-old Augie Vidovich.
Big night for Vidovich.
Well, the biggest of his young racing.
Oh, yeah, and he's got big dreams of going to the biggest of the big league as well, and this is exactly what he needed to do. Fans are happy about it.
He has victories, but this is his first, I believe, at Irwindale.
It is. It is. He had one he thought in hand. There's the big salute to the crowd. In the lead with 20 to go. Lost the engine a while back.
Nice job, boss.
Yeah, I'm here.
Vidovich getting the congratulations from his crew. Oh, yeah, you got to have the hat. Got to have the right hat. The right bottle or whatever. The trophy on the roof of that car. That's a nice one. That's no plastic trophy. That's a good one. Jim?
Augie, behind you sits an Irwindale trophy. Congratulations, you are the Showdown champion.
Thank you very much. This is unbelievable. After Phoenix, I don't know what to expect to come here. It seems like when you have a bad race, they carry on, but we kept our head up and we didn't get the test, unfortunately, but obviously we didn't need to. We came the way we had last time. Man, we just warm out tonight. We hit right on the setup. My crew chief, Mike Harvick, couldn't give me a better car, and he's an awesome guy. It's just unbelievable. I got to thank my family, my sponsor, Rich. We're all praying for Samantha at home, man. It's awesome.
Crew chief Mike Harvick jumping in here as well. Mike, get on over here to help celebrate. Augie, talk about the setup itself. You guys had your heads together since yesterday. What did you do to get this car so good?
Last night in the heat race, it was okay. Just got a little snug, and we just lowered the bar a little bit. And then in the first 75, it got a little bit free, so we just put a couple rounds in it, and there it was. It might have been, we should have just won one round. Still was tight, but can't complain. We're still better than them. So.
How about all those restarts? It seemed like you had your act together, but any worries from Bernie or anyone behind you?
No, it's positions like that, you can't be worried about guys like that. It just makes you slower. So I just looked forward and kept going.
What about next year, Augie? This hopefully will springboard to better opportunities. Do you have a certainty in your future?
I have no certainty. I hope I get something going, man. I've been trying for a lot of years, and hopefully this brings some attention because we have a great year. And this just tops it off. So.
Mike, Augie Vidovich puts his name on the trophy as a Toyota All-Star Showdown winner.
A great drive for Vidovich. Bernie Lamar climbed out of his car. He and Mike Hankey exchanged congratulations, but a member of Rip Michaels' crew came over and got after Lamar for the bump between them down in turn 1 that sent Michaels spinning and to the back. But from up here, Ralph, it looked just like it was a racing incident, and Bernie Lamar is there in second place.
Well, he sure is, Mike. Bernie, let's begin with the contact between you and Rip Michaels. What happened there?
I think it's pretty obvious, you know. I'd go down low down there and he'd just block me, you know. I hate to see that happen, but man, I mean, there was nothing I can do. I went in there and he come down. I tried saying off him. There's nothing I can do. You know, we were already down there and he just drove it down there and blocked me. So it's too bad, but he'll get over it.
When you and I talked yesterday, we talked about the difficulties of getting over the incident that happened in Phoenix where you and Augie Vidovich got together and you said, well, I'm going to have to be just as aggressive tonight to get anywhere in this field. How do you feel you did? Did you get all that aggression right where you needed it to be today?
Yeah, I can't say enough. You know, Les and Sue Denherter, HPS, Groniger Racing, they give us everything we need. And I can't say enough about my team. We came here twice this year and didn't do so well. And we come back and we had a car that actually can contend. And my crew chief from back east, Lance Siders, came out and helped us out, and that helped out a lot. And my crew chief, Mark Lundgren, consulting with them. We were just happy to be able to contend, you know. And once you get close there, it's just tough to take second. But, you know, I had a lot of fun. Come home second ain't too bad.
Mike, I think when Bernie Lamar looks back on Irwindale and the Toyota All-Star Showdown, it's going to be only good things in his memory bank, because this is what's made him the future star out of this series. Got him hooked up with Kevin Harvick. He's going to the Busch Series next year.
Thanks, Ralph. The drive of the night had to be Rip Michaels, who came from that spin with Bernie Lamar back for a fine 6th place finish, and Jim is with him.
And Rip, your your crew members wanted to talk to Bernie. What would you say to Bernie right about now?
I say Bernie's driving for Kevin, and that probably explains half that, you know. I mean, I know Kevin, too, they're great guys, but good thing he's leaving, because if he comes back next year, we're going to put it on him.
How about your race car? It was really good. We talked about heading into this race, you had to lead with 6 to go and ended up second. Did you have the car, you think? I mean, you made it spectacular on adrenaline alone in the back half of that race.
You know, I think if we could have got out front, Augie wasn't really that good either. He was a little tight, but we didn't really have much warm-up, and on that restart after the last 50, we all spun our tires. I couldn't get going. I think we adjusted a little too tight, and I really couldn't pass the top 3 or 4 guys. But, you know, I think we represented our sponsors well, finishing from the back to 6. I mean, stocked us so much. I wouldn't be here without them. I shouldn't even be here. And Prime Source, Trust Choice, James Harding, and all the great sponsors we got make it happen.
You certainly put on a show tonight, guys.
Boy, it was a great drive from the back and almost cracked the top 5 at the checkered flag. Augie Vidovich, the winner. Bernie Lamar, Mike Kahnke, Eddie Hoffman, Gary Lewis, the top 5. Big night for the Southwest Series. Here's looking at top 10, and Jim Pettit made it back to the top 10 as well after being in the back for a while. We'll be right back with lots more from Irwindale. It would be hard to pick a winner out of that group.
Yeah, it sure would. I'm on that panel, and I'll tell you what, we argue a lot.
I'll bet. All right, let's talk to some more of the top finishers in our elite division, 125 lapper. Ralph?
MK Kahnke, Mike, came in 3rd. He's the 2nd in the all-time win list for the Southwest Series. And MK, that break can make or break you, and it kind of hurt you tonight. What happened there?
Well, you know, it was a little too tight, but it was really good at the end of that run, and I thought it was more towards the last 50, so kind of elected to put a rubber in the right rear. Pretty much my call, and got a little too loose, but, you know, actually the yellows helped us. We could get up there and challenge them there at the end, and this thing was pretty cool. So,
as we prepare for the Grand National race, did this racetrack do what you thought it would do with these Tour Series cars?
Yeah, the track was pretty predictable all weekend. I mean, it didn't really go off like it normally does, and it stayed pretty much the same. So it really helped out the guys that have been here a while, you know. And you take 40 of the best guys in the United States, and it's tough. I don't care how it is, you know. I mean, it's hard to get through the field.
Well, he's been a legend out here on the West Coast, and the good news for race fans out here, you're going to get to see him again. Just can't get out of the car yet. Coming back to do it again next season. Jim standing by with another driver in the top 5.
Short track battles are what Eddie Hoffman is all about. 5th in Midwest points, but he just told me you've run 75 shows this year behind the wheel.
Yeah, with our own Craig Racing team, we run locally, and then Lisa Thomas Salon, this car, he's got 2-3 cars, and with the backing of Redken, New York, and our other sponsors, Apple Direct Opinion, we run 70, 75 races a year, so, you know, I can't say I'm out of practice, so that's not an excuse anymore.
Did that experience help you? These West guys seem extremely tough. The first year, Midwest guys kind of showed them what to do, and now it's been the West show. How'd you stay with them?
Well, yeah, we had a pretty good crop of guys that first year, and I think we caught them by surprise, and I know they really got embarrassed and came to their home track. They did their homework, and they've been strong ever since. And yeah, I mean, we're the top finishing Midwest guy, and we can hang with them. I needed some longer runs, but it's a good finish for us, and you know, we just take what we can get.
How about coming out here? I asked your Midwest cohort, Tim Schendel, about racing against these guys and doing well. You've done the best now. 2nd best finisher in Midwest last year, top guy this year. The show is just the caliber of who you like to race with.
Yeah, we go to Phoenix quite a bit and race with these guys. We've done it before, same with the Southeast and some of those series races. And you know, Bruce and Johnny just keep all the cars ready. They're all rolling. You know, they're named after the family kids. You know, Hallie, Ryan, all, and it's just a big group family effort, and with all the backing and staying together, and one full-time guy being able to take care of the stuff and everybody chipping in. It you know, I get to drive them every weekend, so I'm having the time of my life.
Certainly the dream of a short track racer. Mike?
Eddie Hoffman, the first driver from outside the host Southwest Series to finish in this race. There goes one of the more unique trophies in this event, a Les Paul Gibson studio guitar with the event logo on the front. That's Greg Gollins and Les Unger of Toyota talking it over with Augie Vidovich along with the big trophy, and there'll be another presentation to both event winners at the conclusion of the night. Augie's holding that like he doesn't quite know how to play it, but maybe that fella does.
I just hope he doesn't sing if he does figure out how to play it. Right now they're in the process of moving the tools from the Elite Series out of the infield area and moving the tools from the Grand National Series in. We've got another race, 150 lapper coming up. So it's take a couple of minutes to shuffle all this.
Let's have a look at results.
Yeah,
for the Elite division. three finishers from the Southwest: Vidovich, Lamar, and Kankey. Hoffman from the Midwest, and Gary Lewis. Rip Michaels, Chris Davidson, Wilbur Bruce. Pete Harding, with all those spins, he hung on to the lead lap, finished ninth in front of Jim Pettit. You note the yellow background for Chris Davidson, first driver to finish from the Southeast Series. There's the rest of the top 20. 16 drivers back through Donitis finished on the lead lap. The rest of these were one lap down.
Now we're seeing people that had problems, and no doubt the guys in the Grand National Series watching that race have got this all figured out, that you got to be aggressive, but you got to stay out of trouble too, and it's a lot of laps and a lot of close racing, and it's awfully easy to get in trouble here at Irwindale.
Let's go back to Ralph with the 5th place finisher tonight.
That's Gary Lewis. You know, Mike, they give out Toyota trucks here. They give out pretty rings and nice Gibson guitars and big checks. But if they gave a Save of the Race award, it would probably be yours, Gary. Tell us about that beautiful save you made.
I don't even know how I even saved it. I was going right and left and right and left and up and down. I had cars inside, outside, everything. And I just kept sawing on the wheel, doing the Jane Fonda work out there on the wheel. And somehow I saved it. I got no clue.
So what you're telling me, it was all driver skill?
Oh, it was totally skill. Yeah, it was no luck involved at all.
How was the car in general tonight as you finished 5th here?
Yeah, we've had a great car all weekend. The car, it was real good on short runs especially, but in long runs it would start to shove the nose a little bit late apex. So, but for the most part, the Victory Circle chassis and the team, you know, worked real hard, and we had a top 5 car. So,
well, I know your plans are a little unsure for next year. What can you tell us about it?
I don't know if I can say anything for sure, but we might be stepping up one level, potentially running both series. Not really sure. We got to work out the details, but. You know, 5th place here at the Showdown, coming from the back of the pack and having our problems yesterday. I'd like to thank Sign Factory USA, Sandblasters Incorporated, Bergman Racing Supply, Penske Shocks, World Gym out of Everett. We've got a lot of guys behind us, the team. Everybody works so hard. Nutter Racing Engines, awesome engine. Mike Leary Racing Products. The list goes on and on and on.
Apparently. And Mike, if he steps up one level, that would be up to the Grand National Division, which is coming up next.
Thanks a lot, Ralph. 150 laps for NASCAR's Grand National Division is coming up. So stay with us right here at Irwindale Speedway as NASCAR's Best of the Best Touring Series square off. You're watching the NASCAR Toyota All-Star Showdown, and you're seeing it live on Speed. We're halfway home.
From Miami, the biggest week in NASCAR.
Man, these guys are crazy.
With NASCAR Nation, backseat drivers, the chase is on. Trackside, but full qualifying. NASCAR This Morning, NASCAR Victory Lane, and more. Plus, Sunday, the biggest pregame show NASCAR has ever seen.
It's crazy all over town.
Covering every possible angle.
This is a pretty interesting story.
Speed will be on the air live before the biggest race of the year.
This is an exciting time, no question about that.
From pre-race warm-ups to post-race burnouts, Speed puts you in the middle of it all.
Door to door, beating and banging.
If you're not watching NASCAR on Speed, you're not watching NASCAR. Championship Week, all next week, only on Speed.
Welcome back to Irwindale Speedway, where the pits are being reset for the 150-lap Grand National Division race, the top 15 from NASCAR West and the top 15 from Busch North. I didn't get the memo about the hats. Mike Joy, Dick Berger, and Marlon Wayans, who was the
nice
Grand Marshal.
Thank you, Dick. I'm trying to steal your whole style. In my next life, I'm going to be you.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm going to be me. I like me in this life, but in the next life, I'm going to be you.
Let me tell you what, if you're going to be me in the next life, you're going to see a lot of races, so that's a good deal.
Now, I know you're a fan, but you came up here and you said, now, who's the guy who finished second? Because that's where you wanted to finish was second.
Yeah, second's a better place to be, because first place can't take all the girls. Second place, he gets the runoff. You want to get the runoff. You don't want to get the... And the first place is picky. I'm first place. I have the trophy. I'm going to pick the baddest. Give me the little cockeyed girls. I like those.
The runoff.
Yeah. Well, the winner. See, I'm the youngest brother. My brothers, they're prettier than me. I'm okay. You know, I'm not between a scale between 1 and 10. I'm a 5. It's cool. You know,
5 is good.
My brothers are cute. They got chest and muscles but you know what? I get the runoff, and it's cool. I like it.
Plus, the winner's got to go do the press conference, the hat dance.
Yeah, second guy's just sitting there laid back, just like that one right there. Right there.
They don't get to wear a hat like this. In case you joined us late.
I'm going to hook you up and get you the whole pin. You can need the tie and the velour shirt.
No, we're going to stop at the hats. No ties.
If you missed it, one of the most exciting renditions of Gentleman's Charge. I said you redlined the tack. You need a new chip in the tack to keep you from over-revving.
Oh, are you talking about on the
yeah.
intro? Well, you know, I try to bring something special, man. You know, I want people to really be hyped up. So when I say, gentlemen, start your... And I let them wait for the engines. That's the way. They go, engines!
All right,
let's watch the real thing.
Ready?
Gentlemen, start your engines!
I think you bent a valve right there. That was about 9,000 RPM right there.
Yeah, and where did you go? You left. Boom, you were gone.
When them engines start up, it's so loud, I thought Godzilla was in the house. I had to break out. I didn't know what. I was like, oh, snap, I got to go.
All right, but seriously, only for a second.
Yeah.
What do you like about this sport? What's fun about being here?
You know, it's a very competitive sport, and people, you know, somebody once asked me, hey, do you think these NASCAR drivers are athletes? And after I drove a NASCAR, I did the Tom Petty thing, the whole Petty kind of.
That'd be Richard Petty.
Tom Richard.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, Tom's brother Richard.
Him too.
But when I did the Petty thing, it was, you know, I drove the car. I was so scared I forgot it was me. But I drove that car and I realized really how hard it is, because that car on TV, it looks like this super fast deluxe vehicle. Yo, it's a go-kart. And it's hot in there, and there's dust coming in your face, and you're driving 100-something miles an hour. You're sitting in a position like that. There's no radio. There's no airbags. The door don't open. It's hell in there. It's a hard thing. So, you know, all respect to those guys. It's a very hard sport, and it's adrenaline based. And, you know, girls like adrenaline, man.
You got a one-track mind.
No, I got a two-track mind, brother. This is the one you keep listening to.
How fast you go in that Petty car?
113 miles an hour. I did about, I think at top speed I did 118 miles an hour.
Good for you.
Wow. Yeah. I'm not going all the way there. I like life. And I was by myself, so to do that with like 40 or 30 some odd cars it's unbelievable, man. My hat's off to those guys. I don't want to take it off right now because they'll mess with my pimp, but my hat's off to them.
Yeah, Dick's too.
Yeah.
We're glad to have you here.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
I'm glad you had a lot of fun.
Good to be here. It's a wonderful, wonderful sport, man.
Nice to see you.
Yes, sir.
Marlon Wayans.
Yes, sir.
We'll be set for the Grand National half of tonight's Twin Bill when we come back to Irwindale Speedway. The cars make their way around to the front stretch. Dick's got an 8-track mind. It goes all the way back to the 60s. Well, we've had a great race and a lot of fun, and we're only half done in the NASCAR Toyota All-Star Showdown. Get set for NASCAR's Grand National Division. The cars of Busch North and NASCAR West. 15 from each for 150 laps. Let's go trackside and Jim Trado.
To put an exclamation point on the Elite Series event, winning crew chief Mike Harvick, this has to be fun for you. You and Augie Vidovich teaming up towards the latter part of last year. Talk about how important this is, how successful, how satisfied you may be right now.
Well, this has really been a lot of fun for me. I haven't had fun in racing for a long time. This has been really enjoyable. Rich Fountain, Augie Vidovich, the Vidovich family have been great. Just couldn't ask for anything better.
Now, you've got experience in the Grand National West Series, which we're about to see next. Who do you have your eye on here tonight?
Well, Steve Portengay is always really strong, and Mike Duncan actually bought Kevin's first late model. He still blames me for getting him involved in racing. So one of those two would be my favorite.
Keeping an eye on the West Coast guys you used to travel up and down the coast with, guys.
Well, I think I don't want to call it a grudge match. Let's just call it a rivalry between Busch North and NASCAR West is really strong. Yeah, the West guys do not like being beaten in their house, as Mike Johnson did here last year.
Yeah, but it's 1-1 so far. Austin Cameron won the very first one of these things for the West, and Johnson won it last year.
And we're getting set for the command to fire engines to go 150 laps. Brandon Witt and David Rudiman, both Toyota drivers in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, are the co-grand marshals for this 150-lap race.
Wait.
So let's go trackside.
Drivers, start your engines.
Good job!
Well, after Marlon Wayans, I'd give that a
0. Wow. And the driver start your engines is because...
You're blunt. I would give...
Well, I'm honest about it. I mean, he was so good.
Wayans was at redline. At least
he was wonderful.
I'd at least give these guys an idle.
Yeah.
You know, about 700 RPM.
All right.
or
So they can get it too.
Here's how they'll line up to go 150 laps to see who's the best of the best in NASCAR's Grand National Division. Mike Olson, former champion of Busch North, against the surprise winner of race 2, 19-year-old Sean Case.
And row 2 is going to be Joey McCarthy driving car number 8. He has been ever so fast. And position number 4, car number 96, Mike Johnson, last year's winner.
Steve Fortingay is the first West driver. He starts 5th alongside second-generation ace Ryan Moore from Maine.
And starting in 7th position, driving car number 17 from Center Conway, New Hampshire, the veteran Dale Shaw. And outside him, it's David Gilliland.
Row 5, Mike Duncan, a champ of the West Series. And Matt Kovaluk, very aggressive driver from Busch North.
Starting 11th spot, Mike David from Modesto, California, driving car number 2. And Andy Santerre from Cherryfield, Maine, driving car number 44.
Eddie McDonald, who won the Busch North season finale in Thompson, Connecticut 2 weeks ago, and then Tim Woods.
And then Darrell Haar, car number 71, he's from Canada. And Brett Thompson from Jerome, Idaho.
Here's the rest of the field. That includes Mike Stefanik, former champion of Busch North. Sarah Fisher from the West Series will start in the 14th row. Kip Stockwell blew his engine in practice, and there was one he could borrow, but only if Dale Shaw got through the qualifying race last night, which he did. A 31st car, that's Scott Gaylord from Colorado. The 30-car field expanded by 1 when an alternate was invited and accepted, and then one of the original invitees decided they would be able to race. That's why we've got 31 instead of a 30-car field.
And that original invitee was Sarah Fisher. She's known best for IndyCar racing. Crashed last night. Accident not her fault. They've worked very hard on that car. Got it together. She will roll off in the 28th position. The other truly interesting story, you see number 55, the blue and white car there. That's Mike Stefanik from Coventry, Rhode Island. He spun trying to gain position last night in one of the qualifying races, so he will start deep in the field. He's a great driver, an 8-time national champion, and he's got a terrific car. Cars rolling along, warming up engines, warming up tires, warming up the bearings. Let's go to Jim. To Ralph.
Dick, the driver of the number 5, the white car with the green numerals, Sean Case. What a young, hotshot driver this kid is. And so many folks out in the Northeast thinking this might be the next future star to come out of that series and out of that region of the country. He won here last night in his half of the racing in the Grand National class. And I talked to him, I said, Sean, you sure seemed like you expected to win. He goes, you know what, when you're given a car as good as I was given last night, any driver that gets in a car that good should expect to win. It's not being cocky, it's being confident. And I expect to win again tonight because, once again, my crew has given me a great piece of machinery. Jim?
Well, the guy who won this race last year, a surprising winner, is Mike Johnson in the number 96 Johnson Lumber Team. It's a family-owned operation. They build their own cars, make their own bodies. But keep in mind, Mike Johnson took home the trophy last year. A surprise winner last year, but he's been surprising his entire career in the Busch North Series. In 2000, he won Rookie of the Year in a very low-funded team, beating out one Martin Truex Jr. Keep in mind also, with that win last year, he kind of broke a string. He won last year, but he hasn't won it all this year. First time in 5, he hasn't taken home a trophy in the regular Busch North action. He's hungry. He likes the outside group, so keep an eye on 96, Mike Johnson.
6 Fords, 1 Pontiac, 23 Chevrolets in this field. What is so surprising about Sean Case is not just his driving talent at age 19, but he drives for Barney McRae, who raced in this series for 15 years without a victory and without much chance at one. One of the nicest guys in the garage, but never had a lot of success as a driver. Now suddenly as an owner, wow.
But driver and crew chief owner are really clicking in that particular case. Case and his Barney McRae car owner, they just seem to be on the same wavelength, and it just reminds me so much of Richard Childress and several of the drivers that he had. Childress also did not win as a driver, although he contended to win. But boy, has he been a car owner.
Yes. Steve Portengay carrying our Napa belts and hoses, King Taco on board camera. And here is Andrew Lewis, also carrying one of our onboards. And this is the Castle Chemicals number 44 of Andy Santerre, who this year is once again champion of the Busch North Series.
4 in a row. Amazing.
150 laps. We'll go 100 laps. Caution laps will count, and then we'll take the break and go 50 green flag laps to finish it off. The best of the West against the tops in Busch North. Here we go.
Johnson got a terrible start, way back there.
Case on the outside of Olson for the lead.
That's 2 North cars.
And Joey McCarthy right behind makes 3.
Tough battle for the lead early here in the going.
And a lot of different choices on which groove to run. Still no clear leader. Olson on the inside by a foot.
Olson, age 37. Case on the outside, age 19. The veteran and the kid going at it for the lead. Oh, it looks like Case is going to get it, Mike. He's got it.
And here comes McCarthy on the bottom, and that fun sponsor, number 8.
McCarthy has done everything in this series except win one of these things. Last year, well, he won the qualifier in 2003.
Wide.
Yep, finished 7th in the feature event. Last year, he was 3rd, and he has been fast ever since McCarthy and that number 8 has unloaded.
Mike Johnson, last year's winner, in 4th. Ryan Moore in 5th. Horton Case 6th. Mike Duncan 7th. David Gilliland 8th. Dale Shaw 9th. And Matt Kovaluk rounds out the top 10. Case on the top, Olson in the middle, McCarthy on the bottom.
All 3 lanes, and nobody had an advantage there. Now Olson goes way down to the bottom. This is a very good strategy this early on in the event. Try all the lanes, see which one your car is best in.
Now, the last race ran on Hoosier tires. Here, they run a very different tire, a Goodyear tire. Jim?
Hey guys, this is the short track tire that they came with last year to the Showdown. It's the Busch North short track tire. They ran this tire all last year in Busch North and this year in Busch North. They also switched mid-year, so these West Series guys for the second half of the season have been running on this very same Goodyear bias ply.
McCarthy under the 61 of Mike Olson. They raced together all season long in Busch North.
Olson with a big night last night, winning his qualifying race. Hadn't won a race since 2003, so it was a big night for him. Close there. These guys race together all the time. They know each other very well. They know each other's habits and trust each other.
Matt Kovaluk trying to hold off Andy Santerre. That's Santerre in 44 on the bottom, taking the spot at turn 2. But Kovaluk with the power and with the bite off the highly banked top groove to stay right with him going into 3. Dale Shaw is part of that battle, and so is Mike David.
Santerre, not just a driver, he is also the team manager. He's responsible for preparing 3 different cars. His, Stefanik's, and Brad Layton's. Layton didn't qualify for this event, didn't run enough races, so he is sitting home, no doubt, watching it on television. Santerre on the bottom, Kovaluk upstairs. Kovaluk, a big, tall guy, 6'5", 230 pounds. But a very nice, gentle, calm guy. Let's get him mad in his race car.
Right.
Yeah, you get him mad enough in that race car and things change.
Sean Case is the leader. He has 0.3 of a second on Joey McCarthy, Mike Olson, Mike Johnson, Ryan Moore, and Steve Fortengate. The Busch North Series with the front 5 spots with 12 laps completed. At Irwindale, California, 19-year-old Sean Case from New Hampshire driving for journeyman driver, but apparently ace crew chief Barney McRae has been the surprise of this weekend. He leads Joey McCarthy now by by 1 second, with Ryan Moore up to third, Mike Johnson, Mike Olson, Steve Portengay, David Gilliland, and Eddie McDonald. Then Andy Santerre is 9th, and Mike Duncan is 10th. One of the big stories from the back of the pack has been Scott Gaylord. He's picked up now 13 positions to run in 19th in that Oliver Gravity Separators 00. Jim?
I'm down in 00 pit of Scott Gaylord and checking in with Richie Freddie Rompler. This team has really put on a charge. Scott Gaylord has come from the back of the field to challenge Johnny Borman for 18th. They underwent a motor change. They had a sluggish start and a poor starting spot, but man, is he flying. Keep in mind, Freddie Rompler's been with his team for 6 years, commuting back and forth on race weekends from his home near Chicago.
The traffic as he pulls up on Brian Chu in the 99. Leaders in traffic pretty early. And now Case has been caught by Joey McCarthy as he's picked his way through a bit of traffic. Ryan Moore is there as well in the RC Moore Transport number 74.
And Ryan Moore has passed just about everybody over the course of this weekend. During practice on Thursday, he backed his car into the wall, had to go to a backup car, so last night he started way at the tail end of the field during his qualifying race, and he just picked them off piece by piece, and he's doing the same thing right now. Young Ryan.
Turn two, Gaylord is around. Nick, it looked like he just got on the gas too early and spun it. I did not see any contact to precipitate that at lap 25 here.
Well, you know, you got to go through all that many cars. You got to be hard on the gas. It's an enthusiastic caution flag, wasn't it? Oh, look at this.
Matt Pattison and Mike Angelini on the flag stand. Matt is the regular flagger for the Busch North Series. I think we'll see this in progress. Yeah, didn't see any contact, though, to start that out. It just looked like Scott got on the gas and the car wouldn't stick to try to get off turn 2. 26 laps complete. Mike Olson led the first 2, and Sean Case has led from there. One big difference between this and the elite level is that these cars double up on restart, short track style. So Sean Case is not in the preferred lane. Joey McCarthy is, and they go 4 wide off into the corner.
Mike Olson was right smack in the middle in that restart. Olson had started on the pole.
3 wide as Portengay tries to force the issue in between Johnson on the high side and Gilliland down low.
Gilliland has been roaring through traffic. He's the car on your left, that red car, just in front of Mike Johnson now.
What a disappointing day he had. He went to Phoenix, qualified well for the Busch race, but was the first car out with engine failure. Gave him plenty of time to get back here, and he has climbed to 4th place.
From 8th.
For the lead, Ryan Moore goes after Sean Case in turn 2. Case has 2 poles this year in the Busch North Series, no victories.
Except
turn 2, another spinner. And this is the 09 of Koga.
Look at this. He is really into that flag.
He's been talking to Marlon.
He knows he's on camera. There you go.
No, he's been talking to Marlon Williams. Yeah.
That's good. Well, you know, we're in LA. So.
All right, now this is a little surprise because on the restart, Sean Case was on the low side. That's not supposed to be the fast lane. McCarthy was up high, but it was Case out of turn 2 with the lead.
Yeah. Well, 19. He doesn't know he's not supposed to do that. Whaley gets to school on Monday. This kid is a college student. He's studying for a mechanical engineering degree, and he's missed a whole bunch of Thursdays and Fridays in order to race. And on Monday, there's a calculus test. He's not ready because he was here racing. But that mechanical engineering degree surely will help him. Sean Case is absolutely headed straight up for the big time.
And I said last night he had run limited supers. That was incorrect. He'd been racing midgets and other types of cars before having a brief run at the NASCAR modifieds.
He drives like somebody that's driven everything for a long period of time.
33 laps complete. Let's review the rules. We'll take that competition break with 50 laps to go. And after the break, only the green flag laps will count. in this portion of the race, just as in the first race you saw tonight, the caution laps do count. But the big difference is on the restarts. These cars restart short track style, leader on the inside of the front row, second place car to the outside, and so on. We've had some pit stops. The 7 has been in at length. That's Tim Smith. There's Sarah Fisher going out. The 2 of Mike David stopped on the last caution. The 71 of Darrell Haar has been in on both cautions, and the 51 of Rich Rosbarski just now leaves the pit. Jim?
Well, Sarah Fisher came down pit road under the previous caution to make a chassis adjustment. Her crew chief all season long has been Mario Isola with the Bill McAnally team. This deal came together Wednesday. They got together with Randy Lutz, the team owner, with Mike David. They made a deal. Mario's with the team. They had an accident last night. They worked feverishly to get it right. The chassis is a bit off. Extremely loose conditions, so Sarah came down now twice for adjustments. Her teammate Mike David, who won the last race ever at Mesa, came in for a pit stop and adjustments. Last caution, lost a lap in the pits.
That chassis is off. Indeed it is. She hit so hard last night, the frame is bent. They tried to get the frame back to where it's supposed to be. They came fairly close, but it's not right. So she is going to struggle tonight, no question about that.
Yeah, she was hitting the right rear, and that sent the right front of her car hard into the wall. 35 complete. We're getting set for the restart. Sean Case now has Ryan Moore to his outside, Joey McCarthy on his back bumper, and David Gilliland on the outside of the second row. Then it's Mike Johnson, Mike Olson, Steve Portengay, Andy Santerre, the front 8.
Hold it back just a little until it gets time to go.
I think Ryan has him.
And if he does, Gilliland is liable to follow right behind in that car number 88. And he does.
Now,
whoa, Gilliland high.
McCarthy looking underneath Case, nothing there. But Gilliland has forged to second place.
And Case has regained the third spot. McCarthy underneath him.
Then Mike Olson.
Whoa.
And Mike Johnson, the 96, just drifted back alongside Santerre and Portengay.
55 is Stefanik, 44 Santerre. We're with Portengay on board. This is his last ride with this team. Portengay has some opportunity for next year. He'll drive something, but he wants to make the best of it, pick the best opportunity he's got.
3 abreast.
Again?
Well, we say that like it happens all the time, but here it does.
It does. You can go to a lot of racetracks in this country and not see 3 wide once all season long, and here it happens repeatedly, lap after lap after lap.
Santerre 44, Johnson the 96, then the 77 of Eddie McDonald from Massachusetts trying to hold back Portengay.
Santerre has picked up 5 spots since the drop of the green flag in that number 44 car. That's his favorite car. Calls it Faith. Built in 2002.
Right behind him is McDonald working the outside. Picked up his first 2 wins in the Busch North Series this year. Wants to go racing down south. Looking for an opportunity. Figures tonight is a good place to showcase his talents. For 4th place, Mike Olson, Joey McCarthy. Olson in the Little Trees, number 61.
Olson's car tight last night as the race went on. So they've tried to free it up tonight, make it a little bit looser. The driver didn't want to know just how they did it. He told them what the car was doing, and he told them to fix it. So he's just going to drive it tonight. Andy Santerre, look at him just plugging along. Car after car after car, picking them off, heading for the front. Ralphie?
When it comes to bouncing back from adversity, there are not many in racing who are as good at it as Andy Santerre, who dives to the inside of Mike Olson, trying to pick up another spot now. When Andy left this race just last year, he had no ride. When he got to the Busch North Banquet, he talked briefly with Steve Griswold. 136 days later, they had got a new 3-car team coming out of Charlotte with Mike Stefanik, Andy, and Brad Layton all together. 11 days later, they were at the first race at Lee Speedway with Andy running the entire operation. This guy goes through tough luck and good brakes all at the same time. It's an amazing ride for this driver.
And that's just this year. His life story would be an inspiration to anybody. Wish we had time to tell it to you, but Andy Santerre is a true champion of this series and of life. Boy, he's stuck in the middle right now between Olson and McCarthy, and there's not a lot of breathing room there.
No, but there is a lot of trust between those three drivers for Santerre to do that, because he is a very intelligent, calculating guy, and he is not going to stick his neck out this early in the race unless he has a lot of confidence in the people he is passing, and he has gotten the job done. Santerre has passed both of them.
He's up to 4th place. Ryan Moore, whose dad, Kelly, is the all-time leader in this series. Kelly stepped out from behind the wheel after last year's race at Irwindale and now runs the team along with the family business. R.C. Moore is Richard. That is Ryan's granddad, who is the patron of this team and its major sponsor. They've got a big trucking company, R.C. Moore Coast to Coast. 2nd place, David Gilliland has come up from 8th. And what a hard charge he's put on, Jim.
Keep in mind, last year, Mike, he led about the first 100 laps. He led to the halfway break. The invert put him back a bit, but then he got caught up in a mess. He wants to put an end to the idea that he's been one of the fastest guys here yet to visit victory lane in 3 showdowns. Keep in mind, this also is his last race with Mark Golombesky and this team. He's a key component in the shop. He'll be missed as much there as he moves next year to a new West Series and partial Busch team opportunity with team owner Clay Andrews. He certainly wants to win this for Golombesky and all the boys, as he's one of 2 full-time guys in the shop. They've done extremely well in the West Series.
Doing double duty, ran some laps earlier today in Phoenix in the NASCAR Busch Series. 52 laps complete. Will run to 100 and then take the break. No inversion this year. They will restart the way they take the caution flag in this first segment. Ryan Moore, David Gilliland, Sean Case, then Andy Santerre, Mike Olson, and Joey McCarthy. You're watching the Toyota All-Star Showdown on Speed. Welcome back to Irwindale. This is the 10th place battle. Turn 4, big spin, 1 car around, and no contact, but it will put us under caution for Kip Stockwell of Braintree, Vermont. That number 6 car 2 weeks ago was sitting in 3 feet of weeds behind his shop, but they wrecked their primary car at Thompson, Connecticut, dragged this one into the shop, and all they used was the body and the frame. Everything else under it was new.
Well, it was almost in the lawn just a few moments ago.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe it's just sort of going back to home.
Stockwell did not run yesterday because they lost the engine in practice and borrowed an engine from Dale Shaw's team in order to compete tonight. Now, moments ago, watch what happens between number 9, Mike Duncan, 55, Mike Stefanik, and the 40 of Matt Kobaluk. Here comes Stefanik. Oh, there goes Kobaluk.
Yeah, Kobaluk started it.
Everybody hangs on.
How?
Yeah.
Nice job. Real nice job. Look how close they went. And that's what happened. Duncan just tapped the back end of Kobaluk. He dropped down. Stefanik got into it. Everybody hung on. No harm, no foul.
No, and there was no intent on Duncan's part. You saw Kobaluk get loose and lose his forward bite.
On anybody's part. Those are 3 smart race car drivers, and this is not the time to be intentionally causing problems.
Now, there's a fellow, Matt Kobaluk, who has really matured as a driver. Patience was not part of his resume a couple of seasons ago.
Or his vocabulary either.
No, but really, he's done a great job.
Yeah.
And, he's become a threat to win, much more so than a threat to wad it up into a ball.
Indeed, Mike. 4 wins this year and 13 starts, 9 top 5 finishes. I mean, he was a legitimate contender for the championship right down to the wire.
Mohegan Sun Casino is his sponsor in Connecticut, and that's where the Busch North Banquet will be held in December, and the Wayland Modified Tour Banquet as well.
And Mike Joy is the MC for both of them.
Okay. Yeah. You're coming. I hope you're coming.
Oh, I'd like to come.
All right, come on.
I think I'm somewhere.
Bring your 8-track.
I have a DVD, Mike.
That's right. You have TiVo now. How about Eddie McDonald from Rowley, Massachusetts? Let's check out how Eddie's doing tonight.
And Rowley LaChance is the crew chief on this team, guys. They're very good. They won for the first time for Jerry Morello and his Triple Crown Racing. this year. First ever win for Jerry. But Raleigh also has a long history with the Moore family. Kelly Moore and Ryan Moore. He was actually on the box for Ryan here last year when Ryan topped every speed chart when it came to practice and was very fast in the race. So Eddie McDonald, a lot of his success due to the man on his pit box, Raleigh LaChance.
A lot of changes on that team this year. Different chassis manufacturer, different engine supplier, different just about everything, and a difference in the win column too.
Yep, Dad is no longer having to pay for the stuff.
Yeah, Red McDonald.
Yeah,
is here.
Owner of Lee Speedway, here cheering his boy on. Red's usually there when Eddie's racing. Very often Eddie's sister is here as well, but she's off on her honeymoon. Got married. I guess that's what you usually do, right? Get married, then do the honeymoon.
1 to go. We'll go back to green. 65 of 100 laps in the first segment are complete. Double file restart will put David Gilliland alongside Ryan Moore.
I like these double file restarts.
Yes, I do
this
too.
Is night. This is Saturday night. It's under the lights. Double file. Green flag coming up. Ralph.
Well, Dick, Matt Koblek's a perfect candidate for our show on Speed called Unique Whips. He's got a LaJoy of seating seat in there. Bright purple. It's his favorite color. In fact, he was the first driver with purple at the old Water Bowl Speedway, a place I'm sure you spent many days watching races, Dick.
Waterford Speedball. Ralph. Waterford. Yeah, in fact, I was there this summer. Just outside of London, Connecticut. A great place.
Well, Ryan Moore with Gilliland on the outside. Sean Case tried the bottom. And there's still 2 by 2. By 2.
And you'll notice Mr. Santerre, car 44, right up there.
Third place.
On board with Andy. Andy Santerre has been a threat to win both of these main events in the Toyota All-Star Showdown. Both times denied. Yep. Maybe not tonight. Maybe tonight will be it. Last year, broke the drive line. The first year, finished second. Almost won it.
He was leading at the break, and then during the break, they thought they'd changed the setup. They chased the racetrack, and that was a mistake. And he ended up not winning it. Flat right rear tire on Stockwell. He's going to limp around to the pits. He's going to make it. Here are the biggest movers so far. You see Santerre has picked up 9 spots.
His teammate is Stefanik, who's also picked up 9 spots. Heavy traffic right here.
Heavy traffic everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, in Southern California, you'd expect that.
Yeah, but not at this speed.
Riding with Steve Portgay. There's Portgay's number 16. Under pressure from Mike Johnson and Eddie McDonald, the 77.
They get in the corner and they just fan out and do it 40. On board with Portgay, car number 16.
Yeah, good look at McDonald right behind.
Portgay second in West points. Peyton Sellers is going to drive that automobile next year. Sellers, the NASCAR Dodge Weekly Series champion, just crowned last week in Nashville, Tennessee. Told us he had something big at that banquet. Couldn't tell us what. Now he can. Yep. Development driver for Richard Childress Racing. Signed.
Jim?
Well, down at Tim Smith's King Taco Pit, he's got the Ford up on the right-hand side, but unfortunately, they went to the right front thinking that was a tire down. On the rim is the left front Goodyear tire, so they're losing valuable time here. This full-time West team has Tim Smith in the car just for the second time. He's one of 6 drivers for Hispanic team owner Joe Nava this year, so we'll keep an eye on these guys. Again, a lot of ground to make up with the flat.
And they're losing laps. Yep. No chance to win tonight. Not now.
Well, McDonald keeps going after Portgay. Just keeps edging along that bottom groove to try to gain a little bit of advantage. Gains some, loses some.
Well, this is one of McDonald's best racetracks. Interesting, Mike, I asked him which tracks he liked the very best, and of course he said here because he runs so well here. And I said, well, where else do you like? He said, I really like Beach Ridge. Guess where he won? Beach Ridge. I said, what else do you like? He said, Thompson. Guess where else he won? Thompson. So the 3 tracks he runs the best at, those are the 3 he likes the best.
Beach Ridge in Maine, Thompson in Connecticut. Last year's winner, Mike Johnson, 96. Trying to keep Kovaluk and Olson back there. Mike Olson, gets pinned in the traffic.
He's stuck.
Yep, Stefanik's got the outside. Okay, we'll go 3 wide, but there's a lap car just ahead. Watch out.
This could be trouble.
And Olson's going to squeak through on the bottom. Wow.
Nice job. Yeah. Stefanik and Kovaluk going at it.
77 laps complete in this first segment, 23 to go. David Gilliland, the first West driver to lead tonight, out in front of Ryan Moore, Busch North champ Andy Santerre, and rookie Sean Case. We'll be right back to Irwindale. The alumni of NASCAR's Elite Series, David Rudiman, climbing out here after a victory at South Boston Speedway. Elevated to the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series to drive for Darrell Waltrip. He's again found a victory lane. Had to be Nashville, right?
Oh, yeah.
You don't get a guitar everywhere.
No, not just anywhere.
Here in Nashville. Glad to have you with us.
Oh, thanks for having me on. This is great up here.
What a show, and what a racetrack. 3 lanes wide, you can run anywhere, hard to pass, but easy to find a place to run.
Yeah, this is the first time I've ever been out here. This place is just phenomenal. I mean, the racing, every square inch of the racetrack the guys are using, it's incredible.
Now, tell us a little bit about your dad, Buzzy, who I watched race when I was a kid. So he's no kid. I hear tell he's still running.
Yeah, he's 64 years old and won a couple races this year. He's having a good year, and it looks like he's on track to win the point championship down at East Bay Raceway, and he's having a good time. He's costing me a lot of money, but he's having a good time.
Well, costing you a lot of money? How so?
And that guy puts tires on.
Turn 2. And around goes the 18 of Johnny Borneman.
That had been going on for quite some time. 3 cars together, and they had just been all over each other. It seemed as if something had to happen, and it just did. Let's see what happened.
This was the result of contact.
Tim Wood down there in the 54 car.
And the 81 of Brett Thompson involved. With Borneman, who withdrew from the Busch race at Phoenix so he could concentrate on this event when he was added to the field as an alternate.
Yeah, Thompson just plain came up on Borneman.
Yeah. Right
there.
Up there. Here's Jim.
I just spoke with his crew chief, Kevin Cram, for Johnny Borneman, who was up in the 14th position. He was one of the drivers in these 3,300-pound race cars. I really noticed the left front tire was actually glowing. It's still glowing as he comes to a stop here. I asked if he had any brake issues, and that may have been a cause of the incident. He said, no, he just got hit. So Kevin Cram and the boys are fired up, brought the car in to check it over. But again, a lot of guys are starting to cook these left front brakes. They're very much glowing in the rotors.
Now, there's an interesting story. Johnny Borneman's from the West Coast, races on the West Coast. His crew chief, Kevin Cram, is from Belchertown, Massachusetts, lives in Mooresville, North Carolina, and commutes out here to crew chief this race car.
Why not? They're a good team. They're a good team. There he is. There's Kevin Cram right there. Good crew chief, too. He's got a lot of experience. He's been around the Nextel Cup, the Busch Series for a very long while. Borneman's lucky to have him.
And here's Steve Portengay, who runs in the 5th position. Ralph?
You know, Mike, you guys are talking about Steve Portengay and the changes that are coming with this car, the 16, and Peyton Sellers coming in there. Well, Steve's not done driving just yet. He still feels like he's got 3 to 5 good years left, and in a lot of ways, what he's doing here this weekend is auditioning. Bill McAnally, who owns the team, is not so sure he's going to have room in another cockpit for Steve, but he would really like to talk Steve into crew chiefing for Peyton Sellers when he gets out here. Steve is hoping that another team in the series or another series might actually ask him to drive, and maybe that's what he'll be able to get when he gets done with this race here tonight.
Thanks, Ralph. There's Portengay. You saw Daryl Harr go by on the outside. He gets the free pass, being the first car 1 lap down. He and his dad, Carl, both raced in this series last year. Now it's just Daryl doing the driving, except to get to the racetracks. Their tow down here is 36 hours. The closest track they race at is 14 hours away by truck from Canada.
You gotta love racing. You really do.
And then some.
To tow that far, go that far, and be that far away from the center of what's going on as well. It makes it especially difficult when you can't drive across town, drive into somebody else's garage and see what they're doing, or borrow a part, or just sort of have a soda or a beer with them.
St. Albert, Alberta, Canada. Brian Chu has brought his number 99 behind the wall. Let's find out why.
He's had 2 top 10 runs in the Showdown, Brian. It's not going to come tonight. What happened?
No, we've had a tough weekend. We worked really hard. Both Shoe Chevrolet and these guys worked their tails off over the weekend, and I was running in the back trying to stay out of trouble, I had some smoke coming out. I thought it was a tire rub because I got in a little bit with somebody, and smoking, all of a sudden it dropped the valve, broke the motor.
Sad news, these guys are towing back tonight all the way back to near Long Island. Actually, the car's kept in the Adirondack Mountains within the state of New York, so a long road home, guys.
Only 2 drivers are going to leave here very happy, and that's the winners of the 2 races. They waved off the restart because Borneman had pulled up to be the first car on the inside, but that's not the way they restart here. They restart double file, lead lap cars to the front.
I want to say hi to Sandy Sargent at home, battling cancer. Wish you well.
She and her husband, longtime crew people for
me.
Yeah,
there was a time when I was racing and things weren't going well, and I would pull into my pit stall at Beach Ridge Speedway, and there would be Mike and Sandy to help out, and they were the only ones that stuck with me through those days of running in the back of the pack. So, Sandy, we're thinking about you all the way out in California.
Best wishes. All right, well, let's try one to go once more.
They're still not sorted out even up front.
No, it'll be 4 laps to the break. The racecarfans.com number 88, David Gilliland, another second-generation driver, against Ryan Moore on this restart. David, early in the night, the top groove was the place to be, and then it changed. It looked like getting the restart on the bottom was going to work better, and now, anybody's guess.
Yeah, I don't know which one I choose on that program. It's a tough deal. It's the top still seems to be a really good place to get around here. So I don't know. I think the top is a pretty wise choice, but we'll have to see how this works out.
Let's find out. Gilliland inside, Moore on the outside. And you're riding with Andy Santerre, the 3rd place car. Good jump for Gilliland.
Well, Moore had the outside for a while, but it's gone.
And Sean Case is going to get passed by McDonald and maybe by Johnson.
Case did not get a good restart.
Oh, Johnson bangs into Case, bounces off, gets Kovaluk. McCarthy backed into Duncan, and everybody's okay.
Fortunately, that thing could have been big.
All right, 2.5 laps to the competition yellow, and everybody wants one more position before the break.
Santerre ever so smooth in that car number 44. You watch him just slide the car up and just miss the back bumper. That number 74, Ryan Moore. That's skill, that's experience. Do not try this at home.
One more lap. Yellow flag. David Gilliland's going to lead him across with Ryan Moore 2nd, Andy Santerre 3rd, Steve Portengay, and a fine run by Eddie McDonald to round out the top 5. So they'll all head for the pits, get tires, make adjustments, and get ready for the final 50-lap green flag shootout. You're watching the Toyota All-Star Showdown on Speed. Here's how we're running at the competition break. 7 of the top 10 spots, Blue State drivers, those from Busch North. David Gilliland leading for the West, along with Steve Portengay and Andrew Myers in 10th. Probably the big drive, Mike Stefanik.
Oh, yeah, from 21st. Stefanik all the way up to 6th position right now, and looking for more. Ralph.
And let's go to the leader's pit.
Well, they're still getting David up on the jack stands here. Let's see if we can slide in and talk to him real quick. He's communicating with his crew. All right, David, you were a crew chief for your father, Butch, when he won his West Series championship a few years back. You've had a chance to think about your car. What do you like about it? What do you want to change?
It's just a little bit tight in the middle of the corner, so we're going to try and free it up a little bit. But all in all, not bad. We're just kind of wanting to get this first 100 laps done so we can get them the next 50.
Well, you did that pretty safely. Is there a lot more left in this car?
Yeah, the car is real good. We're just, like I said, need to be there for the last 50. We led the first 100 laps last year and got crashed at the beginning with the invert. So kind of looking forward to not having the invert this year and just showing these guys what we got.
Jim?
I'm down here in Mike Stefanik's pick. Mike, you had a spin last night in the qualifying race and put you back for the start, but man, you charged it forward. How about these guys working in that car pretty much all night to get it ready?
Yeah, this Burnham Chevrolet is running pretty strong on the restarts. You get your tires cooled down, you can really make a run on the bottom, but after you run for a while, everything kind of levels off, so it's really important to get on the bottom and really get aggressive on these restarts.
You guys stayed till 1 in the morning working on the front duct work and got back here at 7 o'clock. Any worries at all? Hot temperature at all in the car?
No, water's running about 210, which is pretty good on a night like tonight. Just going to try to tighten the car up a little bit. Guys doing a great job keeping me, calm, letting me know that they're going to fix everything, make it perfect like everybody always says. So I got all the trust in the world in them, and I'm sure they're going to. So looking forward to this last 50 laps. We'll see what we can do.
On the racetrack, action's been extremely tight-knit. As far as your position here, are you guys going to make any changes at all in the car?
Excuse me.
Any changes on the car, Mike?
Yeah, we're going to tighten it up. We're going to see where the stagger's at. If that's a little big, we'll close that up. If that came in where we wanted it, we'll make another change.
Mike Stefanik, the only guy who's ever won a Busch North and Modified Tour title back-to-back years, 97 and 98. Knows what he's talking about.
As a young driver, a protege of the great Richie Evans, drove one of Richie's backups cars in a Modified Tour race at Thompson, and that kind of launched his career. David Gilliland, rather, the leader, Ryan Moore, Andy Santerre, the front three, 50 laps to go. Been a big night of racing action already in the Toyota All-Star Showdown. NASCAR's elite drivers have had their 125 laps on the track. Augie Vidovich, the winner. And then our attention turned to the Grand National Division, where you watch there from Andy Santerre. There's Vidovich, the big winner of race 1. And now that's what the leaderboard looks like as we're closing in on the end of the halftime break. Ralph.
Ryan Moore, the driver out of Scarborough, Maine, is the driver who sits in second. Ryan, you're getting set now, getting ready for this final dash to the checkered flag. How good is your car?
We're all right. We're just kind of a little bit tight in the middle, loose off, so we're just going to do a little bit of work to try to get it turned in the middle, and we'll go play some games with 50 laps. A lot of fun out here in Irwindale, so we're just going to try to put on a good show here. I'll give a shout out to Sandy and Tiff, and I hope that you're feeling good, buddy, and we'll probably put on a show for you guys.
Well, David Gilliland looks pretty good. Have you seen any weaknesses in his car yet?
Yeah, I mean, he's really loose, and I think I was a little bit better the first 50 than he was, and that's all we did the last 50 laps, so we're going to be all right. Gilliland's tough. You know, him and I were 1-2 at this position last year and both got wrecked. So this thing's far from over for us, and just got to make sure we keep it in one piece for 10 laps and then put on a good show for everybody. But just got to thank everyone at Get Etch Doggone. Make sure everyone goes on there and checks out their new NASCAR stuff, and everyone at home, all my sponsors, and just thank everyone, and we're going to try and get it done here.
Now, how do you find the extra percentage mentally to get yourself a little bit tougher as a driver to go get that win?
I'm about as tough as I can get right now. I'm pretty hungry. I mean, every time I put these belts on, I want to do nothing but win races. So I'm going to get all I got and try to get it done here and bring home a big trophy.
Jim?
And I'm in Andy Santerre's, but Andy, you started 12th. You came up to 3rd. Your crew chief might have said you might have used a bit too much up. Is that the case?
Well, we had to start 12th. We had come up through there, and it was a little bit tough. We used some of the car up on the bottom, but this old Castle Chemical Chevy, it's my old faithful car, and it's I'm real proud of the guys. They put a good car into me tonight. We made some changes today. This thing's running awesome, and just want to say hi to my dad. He hasn't been feeling too good this weekend, and if I can win this one, it's for you, Dad.
Now, Andy, everybody talked in the garage area universally about the last 50, getting the car set for the final 50 laps. What have you guys done to make sure this car can get forward by?
Well, we really haven't changed anything. The car freed up in the long run. It was a little bit tight on the initial start, but it frees up as you go. So I think right now we got a good car. You can run the bottom a little bit better than the two guys in front of me. It's just going to be a matter of getting enough luck to, if I can get it clear of them and get out front and get in that clean air, maybe I can win this thing.
Andy Santerre's been lucky and good this year, guys. He ruptured a disc in his back. He had surgery September 1st. He was back behind the wheel of a race car September 15th. He had another chapter in the amazing run of Andy Santerre's driving career.
He's kind of like the Busch North Series Richard Petty. He's not everybody's favorite driver, but there's nobody who doesn't like Andy Santerre.
There's a lot to like.
Here's the way they're running at the break. 50 green flag laps left to go, so prop those eyelids open and stay awake, because it's going to be fun here at Irwindale.
They'll come together from every corner of the country. 70 of racing's fastest rising stars compete on one incredible weekend at Irwindale Speedway. National bragging rights are on the line, along with $500,000 in prize money. The NASCAR AutoZone Elite Division, the NASCAR Grand National Division, the 2005 NASCAR Toyota All-Star Showdown. Don't miss the qualifying races on November 11th. Then on November 12th, the stars will shine, only on Speed.
Little surprised that the Blue State drivers, the ones representing the Busch North Series, have won the team bonus. Their 10 finishing positions at the break, outpointing the West Series for the third year in a row.
It is a surprise in a way, because when the Busch North guys came here for the first time, they were aware that they were at a real disadvantage, because all these West guys had experience at this speedway, and the North guys didn't expect to do nearly as well as they did. And so it was a bit of a shock when the first year they walked off with the extra bonus money. But they did it again last year, and by golly, here they are again, 3 in a row.
There's one of them, Eddie McDonald. Jim?
And speaking of success, Eddie McDonald's crew chief, Riley LaChance, he corrected me. He was not here last year. He was building a clubhouse for his kids. But his experience with the Moore family certainly has paid off. They think they have a lot of little adjustments that they made. He said, hey, we've been really good. Andy Santerre is really the only guy that's gotten by us. We made a little small changes. Keep in mind, as he told me, these guys work on a volunteer basis at night. He and the drivers spend 1 day a week in the shop. Everybody else has real jobs, so keep in mind these guys are going to try to get a top 5 or even better out of here at Irwindale and go home happy for the winter.
There are very few full-time racers in this series, and what a workload that Andy Santerre has. As we mentioned, he prepares Mike Stefanik's car, and past champion Brad Layton, who runs a part-time schedule. Santerre's crew takes care of that car as well. So to be team manager for 3 drivers, including yourself, that is quite a workload. Now, there's got to be a story there.
Yeah.
I mean, is that the rooster to get everybody up for breakfast for the ride home, or
are these guys just chicken?
What's the? Oh,
not possible.
All right, Riley, we're putting you on the spot. I can't interview him. He's not going to say much. What's the rooster about?
It somehow has become a good luck charm, and I hate to say it, but when we got our first win, we cut off one of his little his legs there. We put it in the car. We didn't tell Eddie. And so tonight, of course, we cut off another one, put it in the car, and he doesn't know about it yet. But it's worked for us so far.
I mean, how's that joke go? A chicken that good, you can't eat him just all in one meal. It's never mind. We don't have time to tell. Dale Shaw has gone behind the wall, and Shaw, who unretired this year from Busch North to drive a schedule, and has had what he described to me earlier as a dismal season, and it ends on a sour note in the garage. There's Steve Portengay, who runs in 4th place. Ralph?
Mike, I spoke with Bill McAnally, the owner of this car, about what adjustments they've made to this machine, and it's suffering the same problems as everybody else. Tight in the middle and very loose coming off. They made a whole handful of adjustments to try to get the car to do more of what Steve wants, but this is a One West team that really has a handle on this racetrack. They've won 7 of the last 8 West races here, including the one visit here to this racetrack earlier this season.
David Rudeman with us. He drives for Darrell Waltrip on the NASCAR Class and Truck Series. And I'm sure you're going to tell Darrell that his commentating job's in jeopardy, that you're ready to move in.
Oh yeah, I'm on my way. I mean, you guys got all this. Well, you don't have a lot of food or anything up there. You got a lot of cool stuff up here, though. And, you know, DW thinks the stuff's hard. I think I can do it.
Now, explain to me the deal on Gentlemen Start Your Engines, because, frankly, I think that Marlon Wayans left you and Brandon about a lap down.
Yeah, he definitely kind of smoked us on that program. But this was my theory, right? You know, there was so much action in the first race, I guess we say. We wanted to be a little more low-key on the start, and maybe the race would be a little, you know, less action-packed as far as the wrecking was going. And I thought it worked right up till, you know, a little while ago. So I don't know. That's my theory. You're not buying it, are you?
You've been hanging out with Darrell, haven't you?
Yeah. Can you tell?
All right, these caution laps from here on out do not count. The lap counter is frozen at 100, and it will not restart again until we complete a lap under green. 4 caution flags in the first segment. Mike Olson led the first 2 laps. Sean Case led from laps 3 to 36. Ryan Moore led to about lap 68, and then the 88. David Gilliland got out front and was never headed. He led the last 30 laps to the break. Now 50 green flag laps to go.
And we'll see who made the right adjustments. Gilliland with a huge jump at the green. Huge. Look at this, Santerre on the bottom.
Well, that's where he set up to run, because everybody sets up to run the top. So Andy set up to run the bottom because that's where you got to go to pass, and he's trying for the lead.
Yeah, that was his plan all along. Downstairs. Of course, it's tougher on the tires running down there, so you can't stay down there all day. Ryan Moore coming down a little bit, getting awful close.
Mike Olson comes into the picture on the bottom as well. Now it's McDonald up alongside Santerre, who is going to fade to fourth right here.
Yeah, that didn't work.
Portengay trying Andy on the outside, while Moore tries the inside on Gilliland for the lead. Well, Portengay really threw it in there. Looked like it almost wasn't going to come out the other side.
Yeah, but he knows this racetrack so well. They ran the West race here this summer. He won it. Knows his way around this place.
David, it looks like if you're going to be bold, doing it on cool tires is the time to try.
Yeah, it looks like you only got one shot to get it done, and if you can't get it done on the bottom, man, it's really going to be tough.
Ryan Moore, signed by Dale Earnhardt Incorporated as a development driver. Caution, turn 3, and a car in the wall. That is the Japanese driver, Takuma Koga.
He has had no fun tonight. He's been around, now in the fence.
And the lap counter is frozen at 104. As we have the 5th caution flag of the night. We'll be right back to Irwindale. Thursday evening here at the Speedway after practice. Title sponsor Toyota hosted a reception for all the drivers, owners, and their crews. A full buffet, an open bar, a little bit of entertainment, and a surprise. Music legend Pat Boone was on hand. He's just recorded a new single about NASCAR racing and was the Grand Marshal for last night's race.
Good time. Gilliland, 88, is your leader. He has won 9 times here at Irwindale. He said this is his best track. It's his best car. They put his best engine in it, and he's on the pole for the green.
Ryan Moore is right with him this time.
Ryan Moore is going to get him. Here's his opportunity. But Gilliland is so stout, even on the bottom.
Ooh, Portengay. Yep, slammed into Eddie McDonald. Everybody keeps going. Trouble for last year's winner. Mike Johnson has faded all the way to the back of the pack. He's in trouble and headed for the pits. Bang, bang for the lead. Moore on the bottom. Gilliland up high. Good bit of contact heading into turn 3.
2 young Chargers.
That will bring Santerre and Portengay right back into this lead battle.
If you're watching really carefully, you got a glimpse of Mike Stefanik as well. So Moore, Gilliland, Santerre, Portengay, McDonald, Stefanik, and Olson, top 7.
Jim?
Stefanik's pit about adjusting too far. They did something with the stagger. They tried to tighten the car up. Mike has now said the car may be too tight. They may have gone a bit too far on the adjustment.
Well, he's got 40 more laps to find it out.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can do about that. Stagger is the difference in size of the left rear versus right rear tire. When the left rear is smaller than the right rear, it makes the car want to get through the corner a little bit better, but sometimes if it's way too small, it'll get through the corner so much that the car is just really loose, and you can see Stefanik sawing at the wheel. Back up front.
Santerre for 2nd place against Gilliland. Lap car in front of Gilliland, and Andy is going to use that lap car as a pick. Nope, lap car goes way high, and Gilliland stays right there. Santerre moves up, covers the spot. He's 2nd.
Santerre started in the 12th position. 1 his qualifier the first 2 years here. Didn't do that last night. Tried, just didn't make it. Didn't have the car quite right.
Gay and Olson now battling. This is for 4th place. There's Olson, the Little Trees car inside of the Napa Chevy. Trouble back straightaway. Mike Duncan spins.
Two-time West Series champion.
And around goes the 81 as well, Brett Thompson. Caution flag is out. .37 laps to go. Duncan and the Lucas Oil number 9. A good bit of damage to the nose. That just car just went into a snap spin coming off turn 2.
Yeah.
So that is the 6th caution of this race. And the lap count frozen at 1:13. 37 to go here in Irwindale.
Welcome back to Irwindale, California, the NASCAR Toyota All-Star Showdown. We're in the Grand National portion of the race. Last year's winner, Mike Johnson, out. Mike, what took you out?
Unfortunately, Johnson number 4 had broken axle out there on a restart, and it just seems to be the way the second half of our season's been running. And unfortunately, we ain't going to be able to repeat from last year. It's a tough break.
Mike adding a little frustration to it for Mike Johnson as he's not sure what he's doing next year. Could be a partial schedule, not 100% sure.
Next year.
You talk about how much a win here means. Mike Johnson put the trophy from last year's win in his bedroom. So it is the very first thing he sees every morning when he wakes up. Gives him a great start on each day.
A lot to be proud of.
You bet.
This time, Ryan Moore, the race leader, lines up on the inside of the front row, and with the double file restarts all the way through this event, that puts Andy Santerre, the Busch North champ, alongside. Here's your second row, Gilliland and Olson. Jim?
Hey, Mike Olson's got a lot on his mind. Today's his boy Ryan's 9th birthday, and his crew chief Harry Norcross's son Michael's 17th. Michael was here last year as a special treat, but as you guys know, Mike's wife Sue in the spotter stand also has an anniversary this weekend, and it was yesterday.
Tight pack on the restart. Gilliland to the bottom. Moore comes off turn 2 with the lead. McDonald got squeezed up to the fence, drops a spot. And Gilliland keeps coming on the inside. Behind him, Stefanik and then Kovaluk.
Santerre unable to take advantage of that outside starting position, and it makes you wonder with the car set up to run on the bottom if he has to be there in order to be able to pass.
Gilliland now 3rd. And you ride with Santerre, looking at leader Ryan Moore. Up close and personal. Ralph.
Mike, a lot of people think Andy Santerre's nuts for being based out of Charlotte, traveling all the way up north every week to go racing. But Andy told me, he says, you know what? It's amazing what you can learn at lunchtime. All the guys in the Mooresville area that work with the different race teams come out to lunch. They know I don't necessarily race against them. And everybody wants to brag a little bit about what they found. He said, I like to be a sponge. Just listen in, then go make it work on my race car.
Pretty good theory.
He's a smart guy.
Yep. Mike Olson's up for 3rd. Olson has passed Gilliland, who is now 4th with Borgay 5th, Stefanik 6th, McDonald 7th, and Kovaluk 8th. Case is 9th and McCarthy 10th.
Mike talked a little bit earlier about some of the adversity that Andy Santerre has been through in his life. He had a Busch Series ride, broke his leg, a big crash at Daytona, broke it in 6 places. At age 18, he contracted Guillain-Barré syndrome, and for months couldn't move anything. A frightening situation. Took a long time to come back, but he did with a great appreciation for what he's able to do now. And part of what helped him come back was that he knew when he came back he might have a chance to race if only he could get healthy again. And he did get healthy again to not only race, but contend to win this event. 4 straight championships. My gosh. Here's your movers.
And there are I think the 2 most recent Busch North champions, Mike Olson and Andy Santerre.
Yeah.
8th, 9th, and 10th right here. That's McDonald in the 77, Kovaluk in the 40, Case and McCarthy.
This has been very, very close. I mean, to the point that there's definitely been some paint swap between these guys.
But an awful lot of give and take.
Yeah, I mean, they've shown each other a great deal of respect. You can race close, you can rub, but don't take anybody out. Don't knock them out of their spot. And they've been, I mean, this has been very gentlemanly racing so far. On the other hand, we got 28 to go. We'll see what happens when we get a little bit closer to that checkered flag. Oh dear, like this, 3 wide.
David Rudeman, when you're running this close, is it with your teeth clenched or a smile on your face?
It's probably a little of both. I tell you, I mean, you gotta. This is the racetrack that you can, you know, it's kind of a finesse play. So it looks like sometimes the harder you try, the slower you're going to go. And you know, of course, I never made a lap around this place, but just the way it looks.
That's an old Darrylism. You got to drive slow to go fast. This looks like one of those places. I imagine you hear that quite a bit.
I've heard that quite often.
So Darryl has taught you a lot. What have you taught Darryl?
I haven't taught Darryl anything, I guess, but maybe I've helped his patience. As much stuff as I tore up my rookie year, I think I might be. He bit his tongue a lot, but he's a great guy. I know you guys work with him a lot. He's a super owner.
Trouble up in turn 1 and 2.
Yep, the 14's around and in the fence, Andrew Myers, and he's got lots of company.
Yep.
That just tore the nose off the 50s.
54 Woods.
Yep. And it puts us under caution with 23 laps to go. A lot of damage on John Salimi, the Busch North rookie from Nashua, New Hampshire. Pontiac, that's the 63. Oh, boy.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's bad.
Ex-motorcycle racer.
He is done.
Salimi is definitely done, too. He may as well just leave it there and let the wrecker pick him up.
And another Busch North rookie, Joe Massessa, in the 0 in trouble. Here's Salimi, who was out here last year. Have a look around. And this year ran the Busch North schedule, and he's here to run. Just very pleased to have the opportunity to race here at Irwindale in the Showdown.
Well, let's see what happened. Well, 14 right out sideways. Don't know what got him out sideways. Woods, no place to go. Tagged him hard. Another look from the onboard.
Oh, yeah. Well, car on the inside, car on the outside.
That is just the worst feeling in the world to see somebody coming and you know he's going to nail you.
Yeah, well, and John had no chance. Couldn't go high, couldn't go low. There were cars everywhere. Nope. So that would have been one of those clenched teeth moments. Yeah, right there. 23 to go.
Salimi had finished 12 out of 12 North starts until now.
Welcome back to Irwindale, California. That is Joe Massessa's car out of Franklin Lakes, New Jersey. Busch North rookie. One of 3 cars that will exit the race from this crash that took out Andrew Lewis and this Pontiac of John Salimi. We're going to show you this in real time and show you that Salimi had no options other than locking up the brake and trying not to slide into Andrew Lewis. There were cars inside and outside. Here we go.
Well, Joe Massessa standing here, and he's talking a mile a minute, so obviously you're okay, and you had a pretty good experience up to that point, Joe?
The car was doing great. We came from 22nd, probably working our way to the front consistently. Every 5 laps, I was passing 2 or 3 cars. We went to the break at 100 laps, changed tires, put some gas in, just passing cars left and right. We really had a top 10 or 5 car. It was really hooked up. It wasn't like this in practice, so it was good to feel the car run around the track like this. It was great. There was a lot of smoke. Something was in front of me. I went high, somebody else went low, and I clipped their left rear quarter, and it pushed me into the wall.
Well, he is planning on coming back and running a full season again next year, Jim.
And Andrew Lewis is now taking the gloves off. The youngest driver in the field, in the Showdown, actually, is now. You got the great view of what happened on the roof, but what happened from your eyeballs behind the wheel, Andrew?
Well, to me, it just looked like the maybe the 54 got into the 14 there a little bit and sent him around, and I checked up there, and as soon as I got off the gas there, it looks like I got turned around by somebody. I'm not quite sure who it is, but I don't know, it's a shame. The Napa filters, Napa belts and hose, Clay Andrews Racing, Rich's Motorsports Pontiac was running pretty decently. We didn't have a whole lot of time to work on the car this week, and we got it fairly decent, and we were on our way up there, and it's just a shame for this team.
Andrew, you've raced this year for Bill McAnally Racing. Rookie run, really every lap was a learning experience. What did you learn tonight running with some of the best?
Well, it was definitely a great experience. Get some laps with the best there. I mean, I learned a few tricks and got to know a few characteristics more of Irwindale, and got to learn with these cars a little bit. This is a brand new car, so I'm kind of feeling out different chassis and all that stuff for the first time, and it definitely was a learning experience for us. Unfortunately, it looks like we're done here.
You saw the left rear damage, guys. The right front is the KO knockout. They pulled the pin.
Thanks, Jim. Yep, done for the night.
So we can talk to Andy Santerre. He's sitting up there in the third turn. Andy Santerre, Dick Berggren up at Speed TV. Can you hear me?
I got you loud and clear, Dick.
Well, you tried to get the lead from the outside one time. Is that car set up too much to run on the bottom? Can you pass Ryan Moore on this restart?
Boy, I don't know. He's got a heck of a car in front of me. My car is real good, but boy, he's got an awesome car. And you know, I'll try him on the outside on the restart. That's really my only hope at this point. The bottom is good for a lap or two, but since I'm starting outside of him, it makes that tough. So we just got to watch the 61, make sure I don't get up there and get by both of us, and protect that. Try to stay on the outside, and I'm going to give it everything I got, Dick. If we can do it, we sure will.
How busy is it when you're trying to protect your outside, you're trying to pass for the lead? It just seems as if you've got to have your eyes everywhere.
Oh, absolutely. At this racetrack, there's so many grooves, you just pretty much don't know where the next guy's going to go. So, you know, the 61's real good on cold tires. We get away from him after a little bit of a run, but he's a great competitor, so I'm glad it's him. He's an awesome guy to race with, Mike Olson. So, nobody better to be behind me. But I'm going to try Ryan, but man, that thing is strong. He's got a big motor, and he's real strong.
Did you make the right adjustments on the brake?
No, actually, we didn't. We hit it pretty good tonight, and we just put tires on it. And we were so close, we didn't want to over-adjust like we did the first year out here, so we left it alone, and it's pretty neutral. It's about as good, I think, as the O2 body is gonna get. It's I'm running as fast as I can go. It's good and balanced. I have no complaints.
Okay, well, good luck to you.
Thanks a lot, man.
Andy Santerre running in second. He'll be honored in December as the Busch North champion once again. The man in front of him, Ryan Moore, leading this race, and he led a good bit of it here last year. He got in such a big wreck at the end of this race last year that all they were able to haul away were the frame and the roll cage of the center section of the car. They left the whole front end and back end here because it was junk.
It didn't even look like a car when they loaded what was left into the hauler, and the pile of debris that they left behind was absolutely enormous. But this is tenacity. Come on back, and come on back of all things with a backup car.
Now they have Dale Earnhardt Power underneath this car. He is a development driver for DEI. They would like to run him in the Busch Series full-time next year if sponsorship materializes. So he's been doing some testing and doing his preparation. He's got a chance to run a couple of events, and he is hopeful of a full-time Busch Series ride next year. And this is a backup car. He backed his primary car into the fence on Thursday. His dad Kelly told me that his car was not quite as good, but they were going to do everything they could to make it as good before the green flag wave tonight.
Ryan Moore surely has had a busy week, because earlier this week he was at Homestead, Florida, testing for DEI, and then came from Homestead straight up here and crashed his car in practice, and now he's leading the race after having started all the way in the back in the qualifying race last night. So it's been a very busy week.
So Busch North drivers hold the first three positions. Then from the west, Gilliland and Portengay. Stefanik sixth, Kobaluk, McDonald, Case, and McCarthy. So that leaves just 2 west drivers in the top 10 right now. But still, 23 laps to go. Just as soon as they finish cleanup here from this 3-car crash. The official fantasy games of Speed Channel, Speed Fantasy Cup Auto Racing 2005. Go to speedtv.com to register. It's the Homestead One Race Challenge, where you select 8 drivers for a chance to win $10,000. Log on to speedtv.com. Stay with us. 23 laps to go in Irwindale. Welcome back to Irwindale, where the yellow flag is once again out in the Toyota All-Star Showdown. 23 laps to go. Caution laps don't count. But the field is moving and working through a lot of speedy dry on the low side of turns 3 and 4. So it'll take a couple of laps to get that run off. That was from the 0 car of Joe Massessa. Been quite a night here for NASCAR's Grand National Division, the NASCAR West and Busch North. On the opening green flag wave, there's Mike Olson in yellow, Sean Casey in white. Case with the lead. Johnny Borneman got turned around. That was one of the incidents that have now put out a total of 7 caution flags. And here's the big one. 23 Andrew Lewis goes around. Harmless spin. No, it's not. John Salemi piles in. And the 0 of Macessa dumped a lot of fluid on track. That's what we're trying to get worked into the asphalt right now.
Tim Woods, look at the nose of that thing.
He's back.
You talk about a big Band-Aid. That's what he's got. That thing is just held together with 200-mile-an-hour tape, or it's just, what, 130-mile-an-hour tape here?
Sure. Here's Jim.
Down in John Salemi's pit, these guys are not going to go back to New Hampshire without a fight. They are working feverishly. Again, under red flag conditions, they could do nothing but stand and think about what they needed to do. They brought the generator out. They have the saws all out now, trying to get the hood mounts off the car just to get this car back out to complete laps. One of the few Pontiacs in the field. He really wants to end the season on a high note. It's not going to happen tonight, but these guys are not going to give up.
Well, they're still lead lap car because the caution laps don't count.
Well, they've also gone all the way across the country in order to do this, and if they get a chance to get out there and race some more, they're going to give it a try. Salemi's, this is his very first year running in this series, and he needs all the experience he can get, and so this is a smart move for these guys. If they can get it out there, get the car so it can run competitive, teach them a little bit in those few laps, why not?
Well, David, we saw the replay a couple of times. Could he have missed the 23?
That's a tough deal. I mean, standing up here, the situation looked like he got down there, tried to get things slowed up, probably slid the front tires pretty hard, and then, when the front tires lock up, I don't care how much you turn it, it's going to keep going straight. But, the guy stopped in front of you, you're just trying to slow it down. It's a tough deal, man. I've been right where he's at before.
They got to get that radiator secure. That thing wobbling around like that.
Yeah, that won't be good.
No, that's not the answer. They got to nail that thing down so it doesn't move around. He's an ex-motorcycle racer, one of those guys that drives the crotch rockets, drove at places like Daytona, 150 miles an hour in the pouring down rain. He did that. That's brave beyond all reason.
And he came to a lot of races, talked to an awful lot of people before deciding to enter this series about what chassis to run and who to buy them from and whose used cars were good and who weren't. He really did his homework before he came to run in this series.
Well, if you think of automobile racing as a game, not different than any other game, a board game or a game that you might play on a computer, that's in fact what this really is. And the more you learn about the game, the better your chances of success.
That's where we found a couple of things that would really help make some of these racing video games more authentic. A brick and a stack of $100 bills. Because every time you hit the wall in your online video game, you need to hit your head with the brick and throw the stack of $100 bills in the fireplace. Then it becomes much more like real racing.
And you understand it. Well said, Mike.
Here's Ralph.
Mike, we've been talking a lot about Andy Santerre taking on the challenge of being a team manager for Grisco Racing. Just to give you an idea how tough that is, they brought 35 crew members out here alone, and they brought it from 8 different states, including Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and North and South Carolina. In fact, in talking to Mike Stefanik, the teammate to Andy Santerre, Mike said, in the early stages of this season, Andy really worried more about me and Brad Layton and what was going on with our cars and our setups than he did about himself. And it wasn't until he got partway into the season when he finally started focusing even more on his own setups that things started to turn around for Andy's year. And that's when he started to get fast, and it got him to his 4th championship.
Andy Santerre is one of the best NASCAR drivers never to make it to the big dance.
Could have, might have, should have. Certainly was well on his way until that accident at Daytona. Laid up for a long period of time with the broken leg. And then when he came back with a flourish. And he did win a Busch Series race at Pikes Peak. Came back to Busch North Series and won virtually immediately. 4 consecutive championships with 3 different teams, we might add. With his own, with Joe Bessie, and now with Grisco Racing. It's just an enormous job he has taken on to try to take care of all those cars as well as driving himself.
The drivers have reported to NASCAR through their two-way radios that the track is not ready to race, especially in the turn 4 area. David, what's it like to get out there and have to restart on a bunch of speedy drive?
Well, I mean, it's nerve-wracking, especially if you're the guy leading it. You're going to be the first guy down there to find out what it's going to be like. So, yeah, it's nerve-wracking. You want to have the track as clean as you possibly can. And it looks like still pretty bad in the groove right now. Not too bad down the front straightaway, though, but right in the groove there coming off the floor.
At these speeds, how can you tell when the racetrack is in great shape?
Well, I mean, you know, obviously if you can still feel a little bit when you're weaving back and forth trying to scuff your tires in, but the only sure way to find out is when you bonsai off in there on the first lap and see what it does.
Guess who's going to join? Salemi.
Yeah, here comes John Salemi. They got that car fixed up enough that it would roll. And he has not lost a lap as a result of all this. He wants to finish this thing and take the checkered flag, and it looks like he may.
Good for him.
The restart waved off once again. NASCAR does a good job of polling the drivers through their crew chiefs. The inspector in the pit will ask the crew chief, ask your driver, are we ready to go? Safety is the first concern. Competition comes second.
I just wonder what's going to happen on this restart.
Yeah, because this could easily be the last restart of the night.
It sure could. We're on, you know, we're counting right down here. Lap 127. The youngster Brian Moore on the inside. 4-time series champion outside him. Tim Woods, will that hood stay on? Look at this. Oh my golly.
Yeah,
I don't like the looks of that right front wheel, not even a little bit. There is a significant wobble there, and he is back into the pit area. Oh dear. Well, game try, guys, but you need to change that right front too.
All right, let's get down to Mike Stefanik's pit and find out about the condition of the raceway. Jim?
All right, Jerry, first question, what's your driver saying about what he's running through right now?
He says it's awful icy out there. He says they need at least 5 more laps with a pace to pick it up to get the speedy dry to lift up and over the wall. That'll help. Right now, it's a little loose to be racing out there. He's not really excited if they go green right off.
You speculated that you may have adjusted too much on that stop during the break. What is your thought now?
Yeah, with Burnham Boyler's car was extremely loose the first part of the race, and we came in and the stagger was about a ½ inch more than what we wanted, and we tightened it up a lot, and now we're just too tight. The car's getting better. Unfortunately, it's not a 300-lap race.
He says it's icy out there. You can tell he's from northern New England, even without the accent.
Yeah, where he lives, they have had snow already in Coventry, Rhode Island.
Yikes.
Late October, an inch or two fell on the ground.
I'll put frost on your pumpkin.
No, it'll make you want to move to Daytona is what it'll do. Or here. 1 to go. Getting ready to rock and roll here.
1 to go, the signal from Matt Pattison on the flag stand. And we still have 23 to go. Only green flag laps count. In the top 10, 8 drivers from Busch North, 2 from NASCAR West. Gilliland and Portengay as we get set to try and settle this over the last 23 laps. Those of you in the East Coast, thanks for hanging with us. We know it's late, but it's been a good one so far, and it's far from over.
It sure is. Gilliland's currently got some debris dragging. This will end with a green-white checker if need be, or just plain a good old checkered flag, unless the leader has taken the white flag, at which point, if there is need for a caution, that would be the end of the race.
23 laps to go. Brian Moore, Andy Santerre will bring them down for the green.
This could be for all the markets right here. Mike Olson in that yellow 61 at the bottom. He started on the pole.
No bite down there.
Nope. Santerre couldn't get it done. Ryan Moore is still the leader.
But here comes Gilliland on the bottom in that red car. Slides up in second place in front of Santerre. Big crash on the front straightaway. Mike Duncan, Joey McCarthy, and Duncan's car rode the inside wall about 100 feet. Stefanik has spun in the back straightaway.
Duncan will be done. Big trail of water leading up to his car. His radiator's broken.
And we completed a lap. McCarthy is able to continue.
Stefanik as well.
But a lot of damage to the nose of Joey McCarthy's car. That was a wild ride on top of the Jersey barriers for Mike Duncan's Lucas Oil machine. Let's see it. McCarthy just got turned around, and look at this.
Whoa, Duncan really hit that ball.
Not sure what started it. Maybe this will show us. Oh, yeah.
You can figure that one out for yourself at home. Pretty obvious.
Let's illustrate that one.
It's too bad both those guys are running very well until that happened. McCarthy just can't seem to grab the big brass ring here. Always fast at the main event.
Yeah, he's run well every time he's come out here, no question.
Yeah.
McCarthy led all 100 laps of the first segment here 2 years ago and finished 6th. Finished 3rd last year. Finished 12th in this year's Busch North standings. While there is Mike Duncan, a champion of the NASCAR West Series in 2004 and 2005. Played minor league ball for the Oakland A's organization and began racing stock cars in '97. Now Mike Stefanik spun off turn number 2 after the wreck on the front straightaway, and there's why with Steve Mortengay. Mike Duncan walks away from his number 9 after a hard crash for the West Series champ.
You know, most of these cars have the same safety features in them as NASCAR's biggest league cars. The good seats, the good belts, the head and neck restraints. And we're seeing more and more race drivers walking away from the bad wrecks.
Good thing.
Yeah.
David Rudiman, I don't think David Gilliland's done. He's fought his way back up to 2nd place here.
Yeah,
21 to go.
Yeah, and he has a pretty big power move on the bottom there too. So yeah, he's seems to be hitting his stride. There's going to be an interesting finish.
And Santerre, while he'd rather be on the bottom, he's going to take this restart in 4th place. So he's going to be back up on the outside again since Mike Olson got by him.
Yeah, I don't. You know, his car seems to be a little bit better on a longer run, and it doesn't look like he's going to get that here the way things are going.
So we'll clean up for Mike Olson and be ready to race the final 21 laps here in Irwindale, California. You're watching the NASCAR Toyota All-Star Showdown on Speed. It's Speed News for all the latest in the world of motorsports. NASCAR Edition Sundays, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, followed by Speed News World Class. Sunday nights only on Speed. Getting set for the restart. 21 to go. Green flag. And this time Santerre is on the bottom.
And making progress.
Now they allowed Stefanik to keep his position because his spin was after the caution and he was able to maintain reasonable speed. So he did not lose position. He's up there in 4th place.
It is so intense up front.
Gilliland, he wants the lead. Just backed into Santerre a little tiny bit there, and here comes Stefanik on the outside.
Teammates Stefanik, Santerre, 44 and 55.
And Mike Olson right behind Andy at 61. Ryan Moore just running the top, running time trial laps as David Gilliland cannot get past him. West champion Mike Duncan out of the race. Ralph is with him.
Mike, are you okay, and what happened? Are you okay, and what happened?
Yeah, I'm all right. Just had to go right there. You know, we're getting close to the end of this deal. I knew I had to start making some moves. I had a guy on the inside, and he just moved down on me, took us both out.
Mike, another caution.
Well, good that Mike Duncan is okay. Sarah Fisher has spun, and that brings the caution out with 18 laps to go.
Tough weekend for Sarah Fisher.
I wonder if that caution was a good thing for David Gilliland or a bad thing.
I mean, you think just when you think the race is going to shake out a certain way, you know, things change. I don't know how you guys call this stuff all the time. It's a lot easier being down on the racetrack. Still need to see what's going on.
But I would think Gilliland would prefer to restart on the outside of Ryan Moore than try to beat him on the bottom.
Yeah, I think he's got the preferred position for starting the race.
Jim, what happened to Sarah?
Well, Sarah spun, but unfortunately this car went through quite a bit to get here. We talked about the damage last night. This car was being tested here at Irwindale a week and a half ago by regular driver Mike David. They forgot the hood pins under a quick little run back out on the racetrack. The hood actually came up and whacked on the roof of the car, so it looks like there may be some orange peel. It's more than that underneath the decals on Sarah's car. So the car won at Bakersfield with Mike David behind the wheel. They were confident coming in. I talked to Mario Isola, her crew chief. They found a way to get the car to handle her on the racetrack with those bent parts and pieces, but obviously it got away from her just then.
Here's what happened to Sarah, who was running on the lead lap, back at 19th position. Slow on the racetrack, and the car came around on her.
Stefanik has had quite a night.